Hello and welcome to Hide and Speak. Volunteers have mapped more than 130,000 flock safety automatic license plate recognition cameras mapped by volunteers on DeFlock.org. And the fight against them isn't happening in Congress. It's happening in cities across America and council chambers, records requests, and online campaigns. And it's working. CensorshipTracker.com currently shows 92 U.S. cities that have removed their flock cameras and more being added regularly. A few weeks ago, Flock CEO Garrett Langley issued an apology for calling DeFlock a terroristic organization in a Forbes interview last year. And just this week, they announced policy changes aimed at reducing misuse. Now, before you turn this off, no, I do not think Garrett was being sincere in either of those announcements, but I do believe it's a clear sign that Flock is hurting thanks to the continued efforts of activists all over, including the guest joining us tonight. I'm your host, Chris Miller, and this is DeFlock Stars 2, brought to you by Hide and Speak, the weekly live stream series about privacy and free speech. Our first DeFlock Stars stream at the end of June is our #1 most viewed live stream, but we're hoping to break that record with this one. Everyone watching can help us break that record, and it won't cost you a penny. Sharing this link with your friends and family is a tremendous help, but hitting like and commenting helps a lot too, and we genuinely appreciate all the support. So thank you to everyone helping us spread the word about this very important topic. As always, I am joined by my co-host, Nathan. How you doing today, Nathan?
I'm doing great. It's a beautiful day, and obviously this is a topic that's close to my heart, so I am excited to introduce all our guests and get this rolling.
Absolutely, me too. Tonight we have an absolutely amazing lineup of guests, and I'm really excited to speak to them all. First up, we have a return guest today. He joined the first DeFlock Stars live stream just a few weeks after starting his chapter, and he was really just getting started. In the last couple of months, I've seen him pour himself into spreading the word and building his local chapter, so I can't wait to hear about his journey over these crucial first few months. The group he started is DeFlock UA, based in Upper Arlington, Ohio. Paul, thank you so much for joining us again.
Hey, Chris, good to be here.
Awesome. We're really happy to have you here. And this thing is acting up on me here. Give me a second here. Okay, there we go. I'm back. All right, next up, we have Pope of Wall Street, or I believe his name is Eric, who's representing DeFlock, Connecticut. How's it going today?
It's going well. Thanks for having me, Chris.
Thank you so much for being here. Very excited to speak with you.
Awesome.
Hey, Nathan again. This thing's going wild today. Next up, we got James from No Flock in Troy, based in Michigan. James, how you doing today?
Doing wonderful, man. It's great to be here.
Awesome. Well, we're super glad to have you. And we're also joined by Rin from Flock Out of El Cerrito. Welcome to the show.
Thanks. Great to be here.
Awesome. Very glad to have you. Next up, we have, who else we got here today? We got so many people here. This is amazing. We have, I'm probably going to say this wrong and I apologize, but we have somebody here from DeFlock, Dahlonega. Did I say that correctly?
Yeah. Yes, you
Oh my
did.
God,
Hey, glad to be here. I go by Van.
Van, very, very glad to have you here. Thanks for joining us. All right. I think that is everybody. Did I miss anybody? No, I think that's everybody we got for so far. All right. The reason we chose this date specifically is because tomorrow is the first day of DeFlock.org's National Week of Action against ALPRs. And we wanted to help shine a light on that and get as many people to join the fight as possible. You can learn more about that and look for events in your area and local groups that are participating at noalprs.com. So make sure you check that out after the stream. And just a reminder that the opinions expressed by the members of our audience here, do not necessarily reflect the views of Hide and Speak, vp.net, or bmail. If you have a question for anybody on the panel, please ask it in the live chat on YouTube or X, starting with the Q and colon, and we will respond to it during the Q&A session later in the stream. And before we get started, we do want to take a minute to thank vp.net and bmail, which make Hide and Speak possible. If you want to support the show, best way to do that is to sign up for vp.net and bmail, which is a great way to protect your privacy online. We just have a quick video to watch, and then we're going to dig in. If I can find it.
Every time you go online, websites and apps track you. Your ISP watches you, and hackers try to siphon up your personal data. So you bought a no-logs VPN. Funny thing, trust-based no-logs VPNs keep getting caught logging. If they have the ability to look, they probably will. In fact, some of the most popular VPN services have publicly admitted they can and sometimes do monitor VPN traffic. At vp.net, we built a VPN that literally cannot spy on you. Your traffic runs through secure enclaves where no one can see it, not even vp.net. Best of all, you can verify our setup anytime you want. Because privacy is far too important to leave up to blind trust. vp.net, the only VPN that you don't have to trust, because it can't spy on you.
All right. Well, let's get into this thing here. So every one of these fights starts the same way. Usually somebody notices a black pole with a solar panel on their street. They look it up and they can't unknow it. That's how DeFlock itself got started. A software engineer on a road trip counting cameras in every town he drove through. Tonight, we have 6 people who had their own version of that moment and then decided to do something about it in 6 towns that look nothing alike. So let's go around the room and start at the beginning. Let's see. We're gonna just go down the list on the right here. So, Eric, what was the moment you personally decided to start doing this?
It was basically end of February. A couple things happened all at once. They had that remember that Super Bowl advertisement when they were looking to partner up with Ring? That definitely put it on the radar. Here in Connecticut, we had like a huge blizzard, so I actually ended up going to help my parents shovel out. So I was trapped with them for 2 days. At which point, I basically watched YouTube twice and kind of found my way into, I guess, Ben Jordan and the 404 media. You know, they were the ones breaking it. Now, I walked by this camera for 6 months before I became wise to what it actually was. It's like literally 300 feet outside of my apartment. I would pass it 3 times a day walking the dog. So once I became aware of it, I obviously, started banging the drum and I hollered into the internet and the internet hollered back majorly. So we used that momentum and, we started action basically mid-March.
Very cool. How about you, Ren? How'd you get started?
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. Basically, I would say end of April, beginning of May, we found out that the flock contract with our city was up for renewal. And I was like, wait, what's a flock contract? And I was like, wait, there are 41 cameras spying on us. And so I got into it thinking, okay, we're just gonna, they'll renew this contract. What is that, like a month? They'll renew, but now I know, and we'll keep fighting for the next, to not renew the next contract. But we managed to get them to not renew this one. So yeah, it's only been a few months.
Oh, that'll do it. It's amazing when you realize how many there are suddenly. How about you, Van? What got you going?
What got me going is No Flock and Troy. He really inspired me, and I kept seeing these cameras everywhere around my campus and around my town, and I don't like being watched, being tracked.
Yeah. Well, that's super awesome. Let's go over to No Flock and Troy then. How'd you get going?
Well, very similarly to Van, I saw somebody else just online talking about, oh, these new cameras are popping up all in your town. And so I looked into it, found DeFlock.org, and I saw that I got 25 in and around my city. And so seeing that there were proactive approaches to this, I'd say mid-March, beginning of March, started looking more into it. And then around, I think in the beginning of June, I started to organize with local political organizations and start making videos on Instagram, at which point I met a lot of success, and we are well on our way to getting that contract addressed by the council.
Awesome. Glad to hear it. How about you, Paul? What got you going?
Probably about a year ago, there was that case out of Texas where they followed that woman across state boundaries for seeking healthcare. Shortly after that, a sibling of mine came out as trans. Shortly after that, Kansas, stopped issuing driver's license to trans people. And then again, the White House made its just horrible statements about what they consider radical ideology and and then I live in a very safe community, and we've got 20 cameras. And it's like the infrastructure's already there to surveil people who are just being themselves, and I'll sort of be damned if I'm going to stand by and let people get targeted.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that's when it hits home like that, it's hard to not get involved. Paul, your mic is a little bit quiet. I don't know if it's possible to boost it up a little or come a little closer to it, but
Yeah, I will see what I can do.
Oh, that sounds better, definitely. No, Nathan, what about you? Let's first get on your radar.
Well, I guess I would say the first time that flocks specifically got on my radar, it was like I live way out in the middle of nowhere in the woods, and all of a sudden there was a flock camera near me. Oh, it's only like 2 miles away, and it's somewhere that I have to drive past every day because that's right on the highway. And when you live in the middle of nowhere, everything is off the highway, right? And it's like, well, what is the purpose of this being here? So it just seems like the road that flock cameras lead us down to is not somewhere that I personally would like society to go towards. So it's something that I'm putting my voice out there to say that I'm not for it.
Love that. And so I love it about some of these, several of these answers. You saw how, one person inspires the next person who inspires the next person. And that's what this is all about. And that's what this whole week is going to be about. And what the stream is about, is that like, if we even could just get one person to say, you know what, I've had enough. I'm going to start another chapter. Like it just keeps spreading and it keeps spreading. So like, that's a beautiful thing. And that's why we're doing
And I'm
it.
going to be a little corny here, but that's one thing that we do on this stream is we try to encourage people that, yes, just anybody, your voice can matter. You can make a difference. Your voice, you say something that can spread to another person, that spreads to another person. And now all of a sudden, your small voice is making a huge change in the world. So I think it's important to put that message out there.
Yep. I mean, I said it last week, but I'm going to say it again. Like, for anybody who thinks that the individual can't make a difference, spend a night with a mosquito in your bedroom and you'll realize that when there's somebody with enough attitude, they can make something happen. So that's what this is all about. So let's see. We'll go over to you again, Eric. What was the thing about this that nobody warns you about?
Being right, actually, to a certain extent. I mean, 4 or 5 months ago, we were all paranoid, right? You know what I mean? Like, they're like, oh, just relax, the traffic camera, etc. Like, I wasn't prepared, for it to have blown up in the past month as it has. Like, I was expecting a little bit more of a slow rollout of awareness, but it seems like we're kind of moving faster than slow, for sure.
For sure.
And actually organizing human beings, that is a very difficult thing. It is wicked easy to make some propaganda and put it online, but trying to actually utilize that and the attention it gets to actual direct, concrete civic action is a tricky thing. The organizing aspect is probably the hardest part. Trying to get 40 human beings on the same page and delegate tasks and stuff like that.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. How about you, Rem? What was the thing that nobody warned you about?
Yeah, I have to say I continue to be shocked at how incompetent Flock is as a company. Like, they're so bad.
Yeah.
They sent a person who knew nothing to our first city council meeting. They lie, and in very easily provable ways. They will like promise something and then not do it. Like, we're in the middle of trying to get our cameras down right now because the contract hasn't been renewed. And I think we're radicalizing our police department against the company of Flock, because Flock has been telling the police, oh, yeah, the cameras are off, they're coming down, whatever. None of those things are true, and you can just see it with your own eyeballs. So I shouldn't have been so surprised, because I do live in the Bay Area, and so I know tech companies, and they are almost universally this incompetent. But I was really surprised, to be honest, how incompetent they have been.
Yeah, no, that's a good one. I'm gonna have to agree with that too. Van, what about you? What was that something nobody warned you about?
Just the effort you have to put in, a lot of networking, a lot of getting your buddies together, hammering out ideas. You have to really apply yourself at these city council meetings and at these board meetings, just to get your voice out there. And that's what really surprised me. And what's also surprised me is the attention you get out of it. People listen to you when you decide to put your foot down and stick up for yourself. Like, this is totally just an infringement of our Fourth Amendment, but no, it doesn't violate such and such statute. Yeah,
that makes sense. How about you, James?
Well, I think that the number one thing that most surprised me is that I did this before, but just it's become so apparent now, is the lack of responsiveness from our city council members and those who govern us. Like, they are it seems like they're physically unable to think about anything except for their image. They're unable to think about constitutional law. They're unable to think about potential infringements. They're unable to act proactively. And I know this isn't a universal blanket statement for every single city council, but gosh, it seems like it is. I try to talk to these people, and it's like speaking to a brick wall. And so I think that's one of the most surprising things of all, is just noticing the incompetency.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, for sure. Who we got left? Paul, what about you?
As I dug into it what really stuck out to me was just how many council members it was voted in unanimously. So that was a surprise to me. So I agree with that previous comment. It's just like city council is not necessarily listening to their constituents. But since the group has grown, I'd say the biggest surprise has been the number of state level politicians that have shown up to our meeting. Like our first meeting was 6 people. And then we had 20 people, and we've had 2 state reps come by. We had a guy who's running for state AG, and it's just like the level of interest that this is pulling just blew me out of the water.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's like one of the things that's really difficult about this, like most people nowadays, like the way that they support an issue that they care very strongly about is they hit like and repost on things that they see on the internet that support that. And, it's hard to get people to understand that, like, well, that's cool. Like, that's not going to actually get the flock cameras out. Like, it's going to those city council meetings, actually speaking out in them and things, it's taking those steps. So, a lot of you were saying, like, yeah, there's a lot of work to this. And I personally, I really appreciate all the work that you are all doing, because it's only the work that all of people like you are doing that's the only reason any of these cameras are getting removed. So, yes, it's a lot of work, but it's really, really important work. So I just want to thank you guys for that. It's very, very important stuff. All right, let's get down to the nitty gritty and what's going on in your areas here. So let's hop over to El Cerrito. What's going on in El Cerrito?
Yeah, so we were, to my surprise, we were successful in getting the city council to vote 3-2 not to renew the contract with Flock. This is after the police chief attempted to renegotiate with Flock to have a quote unquote better contract, which was of course not better. If you've read anything from the ACLU or EFF on the new Flock contracts, they're worse with the global licenses and all that stuff. So yeah, we were able to get them to not renew. I think part of that was they were really sleepy. It was also because we organized quickly and we utilized our assets. I wanted to sort of say, I think I came into this a little bit from a different angle than other people. I don't like being surveilled, but that's not my personal highest thing. I love local politics because I love talking to city council members and sort of using my leverage with them. And I picked Flock because I was like, oh, this is a very straightforward single thing. Come on, just come with me. It's going to be fine. And you don't have to hate the police. You don't have to hate surveillance because Flock is a terrible company and they're not doing what they said they were going to do. We had violations, right? We had the VA and some other federal government agency look at our data, even though they were supposed to not to be able to. Yeah, and so the contract is not renewed. It ended June 6th. And of course, cameras are still up. Infrared is still glowing. We had I was saying before we got on live, we had some local news coverage showing videos that some of our colleagues took of the infrared flashing as the cars go by. And our police tell us that they don't have access to the data, which I believe them on that. And they say that the other local PDs like Richmond and Oakland and them don't have access either. But it seems to me the data continues to be gathered by Flock and I assume put out somewhere. And so right now we're working to get the cameras down. Flock has promised the police they'll be down by August 18th. I don't believe it. But we're going to have a city council meeting on August 18th. We'll see what the report is from the police. And we're just keeping the pressure up. Our ask right now is that the police bag the cameras until they are taken down so that they can't be collecting data. It's like a physical barrier. Hey, if Flock says they're off, no big deal to bag them, right? Because they're not collecting any data. So, and we're just doing that by pressure. We're emailing city council members and the police every week, multiple of us. Sometimes we have a big push. We get like our bigger cohort to email, so they get hundreds of emails. Yeah, and we're just going to keep going until the cameras are down.
Very good. Yeah, no, that seems to be a recurring thing now. Cities vote to take the cameras down, and then Flock is just never seems to be available. But like, if one of those cameras get damaged, Flock's there within the next week to put a brand new one up. Suddenly, there's an opening in their schedule. You know what I mean? It's wild because but like you say, when you ask to disable what they disable is your access. They don't disable the cameras because that's the real product, is access to that network and all of that data. And they still have
Absolutely.
customers all around you that still want to access that data. So it's insane that, you know, we post stories about this and people are like, what do you mean? Why can't the city just take them down? And I'm like, because they were dumb and signed a contract that says they're going to get sued if they do touch the cameras. Like, that's the thing. Like, yes, it's stupid, but it's too late. That ship already sailed. They already signed that. Like, they, you know, they're stuck now. What's going on over in Troy?
Sorry, could you repeat the question, sir?
Interesting. What's the status in Troy right now?
Well, status is city council unresponsive. Police chief actively lies about it to the city council. And we're just dealing with a lot of different complications with the city council, which is, you know, why I have a particular grudge against them. The cameras are still up. We still got 25 cameras up and around the city. And in addition to that, the local police have started strapping them to existing infrastructure. I personally believe in an attempt to hide them. Like there was a speed limit sign with just on somebody's front lawn that had a flock camera strapped to the back of it. So like they're getting a bit creative with how they want to hide their cameras.
Yeah, that's wild. Let's see who we got next. What's going on in Connecticut?
Lots of stuff. I think we've had 4 wins in the past month. There was Windsor was one of the first places to get the contract suspended. They had a vote, I think this is back in like February of this year. They had a vote last month to continue the suspension. Basically, Flock talked to the council people. They were trying to renegotiate. The people showed up and said no thank you. We had a big win in Milford about 2 weeks ago. They're suspending. It was something like 250 people showed up in a town of 45,000 people. I think it was on CNN. It was amazing because it was a very nonpartisan group. You have Democrats, Republicans, and et ceteras, and everybody was just not down for it. And they were in unison, and it was really an inspiring thing. Plus, we got Orange, which is like another small place. They just suspended, and I think Killingworth. But we have 169 smaller places cumulatively, and all the contracts are individual with each of these locales.
Right.
So what we're doing with DeFlock Connecticut is like, we're getting aligned with the grassroots movements that are starting autonomously in these areas. We're sharing whatever information we get through FOIAs or whatever with them. And if they're not starting and somebody wants to, we're trying to empower them and give them a toolkit to set up their own camp.
Awesome.
And obviously, you know, I'm going up. I think on the 18th, Milford is like the police chief and the Flock people are coming to do their kind of, you know, pro-device propaganda, and the people are going to show up and there's going to be questions. And it's really, I think, generating we need a network to defeat this network is the reality of the situation. And a lot of this is going to be done individually on grassroots things, but there's no reason that these grassroots can't be connected by some like mycelial network, which is what DeFlock Connecticut is trying to be. And which is why I moved away from the Pope of Wall Street, which was like originally my I mean, that's technically like my local politics page, but it became predominantly Flock once, you know, I caught wind of this. So I wanted to break it off from that so we can actually have more, one, of a nonpartisan thing, and two, just a more comprehensive understanding of what's going on in Connecticut. But one more thing, we do have a lot of action on the state, and we have a gubernatorial election going on. So the state delegates are saying that they want to do a pause and an evaluation. The gubernatorial candidates are saying anywhere from a pause to a complete dismantling to somewhere in between. So we have the upper crust of the sort of political ecosystem are paying attention to it. Mind you, it's an election year. Let's see what they say in November, 8th, when it's all said and done. But we have traction, and they want to be the number one state, the exemplum for the rest of the country and how we're dealing with Flock. There was some state legislation that was passed. I'll be happy to get into that further. Next question.
Perfect. Sounds cool. I love that you guys are working on like a state level and helping to support all the individual groups. I think that's really cool.
It's absolutely crucial because, like, I mean, they're still trying to legislate, put up guardrails and et cetera, and X, Y, and Z, which I think we're beyond that point at this point in time. I just think it's like no mass surveillance, period.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. I know you're having some audio issues possibly, but hopefully things work out. How's it going over in Dahlonega?
Hello. Can you hear me? Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Oh,
Yeah, we can hear you.
I hope this goes through, but
Just barely.
and so far the last thing we're doing is Jordan is coming to interview him later at the end of this month. That seems to be the highlight of this whole thing currently. But I've met up with a bunch of like-minded people in town, and we're just trying to spread the word and get everyone who wouldn't normally care involved.
I've only caught a little bit of that. Your audio is cutting out really bad. Sometimes when that happens, if you jump out of the live stream, if you quit and come back in, sometimes that'll resolve the issue. So maybe try that, and hopefully that it'll be working better when we come back to you, because I want to hear what you got to say here. Paul, what's going on in UA?
I mean, since the last time we talked, our group has probably grown 5-10-fold. We had 6 at our first meeting. We had 46 at our last meeting. We've gotten the group to send enough emails that the city summoned the PD to give a presentation on Flock. It was a lot of propaganda, but at least they did it. The city released its audits. They released 1 month of audits, so that's something. Again, they released a transparency portal, which again more propaganda, but at least they're showing like some responsiveness to the emails. There's a previous comment about linking up and like forming that mycelium network with your local folks, and I could not agree with that more. We've also been the UA is just a separate we're a tenth of the size of Capital City. We've been able to connect with a lot of groups in Columbus and really help facilitate them their testimony in front of their city council. That's really what gets all the media. But frankly, any media in Central Ohio helps all of us in Central Ohio solve this problem. And so we've been banging pretty hard on that front. Our city council is going to have they don't have Flock on the agenda yet explicitly, but they have to do a budget hearing every year, and Flock's in the budget, so we think that's fair game for that hearing. So we're really targeting that December budget hearing to get our group to show up and do mass comments. Until then, it's really just an awareness campaign, starting with what is hopefully a pretty kick-ass week of action.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah. I love it. All right, let's see. Oh, we got somebody come back. All right, then. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Oh, you sound much better. So let's hear that again, because I missed too much of that.
Wow. Well, yeah, this is 100 times better. Anyways,
Yeah.
so I went to a local meeting recently, and I met a bunch of like-minded people, and it's really nice to know that it's not just me and a couple buddies fighting this fight. We met with the sheriff, and he had no idea what was in his contract. I read it to him verbatim, and he said, "That's not ours, is it?" And I said, "Yeah, it is." And I've been in contact with him. He's a great guy. I just don't think he read the contract, which is a pretty big deal. But he's a small sheriff type, and he just didn't think he needed to do that, I guess. But now I'm having Ben Jordan come out and interview him later this month. I had a really lucky break. And it helps that I live near his home state, or his hometown. But we're fighting the good fight. I'm currently enrolled on campus here around Dahlonega. So I'm starting some student organizations, and I'm getting the youth out there to try and understand that their rights are at stake. That's currently what I've been up to, and that's the situation in Dahlonega.
Very cool.
I just want to bring up too, I think that's a great point, because he points out there that, his local politicians or the local sheriff department or whatever, they just get what they get from Flock, right? Mm-hmm. So they don't have all the information. They might not have read over all of the contract, or they just see like, oh, we're going to stop criminals with this, right? So it's just like, it's not that all of them are terrible people or corrupt politicians. It's just that there's not enough information out there. So
yeah, that was
a great point, Van.
If I had to say one nice thing about Flock, it's that they're really, really good at marketing to these local communities. And that's really why they've been so successful. They come in, they tell a really good story,
And it's like, we're going to save the kids, any missing kids, we're going to find them, stolen cars, we're going to solve crimes. It sounds great. Now, if you're a city council member, you're there because you want to help your city. Somebody comes in who seems like a really nice person and all he wants to do is help your city. And you're like, cool, this sounds great. And that's a lot of times what happens, when people actually push back and they tell their city council, this is what you signed. They're like, no, that can't be it. And they just genuinely don't realize. And I mean, I think a lot of them did it from a good place. They're like, oh, I want to find the missing kids. I want to get the cars back. I want to stop crime. Let's do that. And like, they're not, Flock's obviously not going to come in there and say, hey, we want to spy on you and all your neighbors and make a database of it. And let all kinds of, they're never going to say that. So that's the problem. Like, people want to attack the city council members, but like, I think you got to give them the chance. You got to let them know what it is that's going on. And if they then continue to keep supporting, okay, fair game, like we're coming at you. But, most of the time it seems like they just genuinely don't know what they signed, which is really a scary thing to think. You have to wonder, this can't be the only thing that's true about. So you have to wonder how much of our government is just like paperwork that somebody signed without reading it. And that's what we all have to live under. Kind of wild.
You raise a good point about that, Chris. I mean, I am for certain that my common council just saw it as a line item. They didn't really look into it. There's a difference between like the service agreement and also what like is basically like an invoice style contract. So Van, your sheriff or wherever they are, they probably just saw the service agreement, the work order kind of thing. The service agreement is like another 150 pages, which is dense and convoluted for sure. But I'm pretty certain that most of the common council people is actually coming from negligence and not malfeasance. They just didn't know what it was. It's just another line item. Ours is paid for by Department of Justice grant, so it's not even coming out of our pocket. So it's like, yep, we're good. Like if it was and we're cutting school lunches, then there'll be an entirely different kind of conversation.
Right.
But I mean,
go ahead.
To a point, negligence in this era and this intelligence apparatus is malfeasance. You are letting people watch you and violate your rights, and it goes to this database that we're not even completely sure where it goes. They claim it goes to train machine learning AI, which is dystopian in so many different ways. But there's just, when you're in a public office and you sign on to something without reading it, you are negligent to the point of malfeasance with your constituents.
Yes.
Everyone that has signed this hasn't apologized for it after they found out what it is, deserves to get primaried and booted out of office. This is a 90-10 issue. Being against surveillance is the most, being against nationwide dystopian surveillance is the most basic issue that the left and the right and the center all agree on. It's just the people who are in power who want to take advantage of this abuse it.
Yeah.
All right.
I wanted to jump in real quick. I mentioned this only for strategy purposes, not because I don't agree with you, Van, but I have learned in this work recently that, for example, in El Cerrito, we're a city of 26,000 people. There are 5 people on our city council, all the same level. One of them we call mayor, but it rotates, so it's called a weak mayor. Anyway, they make $5,000 a year from the city for their job. So it's not a job. It's essentially a volunteer position, especially in El Cerrito, California, right? Where, the rates are very high. So I keep that in my mind when I'm talking to the city council members, because it helps me come at them from a perspective of, listen, I do believe they're malfeasant. They're acting with malfeasance, right? But I can understand it. I've been in jobs where I wasn't getting paid very much. I couldn't work very hard, right? I've been there. And so coming from a perspective of like, well, you didn't do great, but hey, we could fix this mistake. And I understand, like, you're worn out. You got people yelling at you all the time, right? Because I guarantee you every city council has like 3 or 4 people who show up every time and are giving just weird, unhinged comments. Sometimes they're totally right, but they've been giving the same weird, unhinged comment for the last 30 years, and so it's hard to listen to them.
Yeah,
So I
chicken
just think,
laws.
yeah, keeping that in my mind has been really helpful in organizing with city council members, which is ultimately what I think helped us get the contract out.
I guess I'm becoming the weirdo.
Yeah.
Keep showing
All
up to
right.
these meetings.
Oh, I know. Me too. Listen, me too. No, not just you.
All right, let's get into the actual problem here for those at home that might not actually know. So, who owns the data? The city, the vendor? Does anyone in local government actually know that answer? Who wants to jump on this one?
I mean, isn't there a clause in the contract for a revocable universal perpetual license to the aggregated data for machine learning and product building?
Yes.
Nailed it.
And
Absolutely.
Right?
advertising.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So as far as I'm concerned,
Points to Paul.
Yeah, just
it
like
goes
that
there.
gymnasium, all for advertising, right, guys?
Now, I have a much more difficult question. Is that why doesn't anybody in government seem to know that? I don't think we're going to get an answer for that today, though.
Yeah.
That's
All right, let's
rhetorical,
go.
right, Chris?
Yeah, exactly.
Why
Yeah,
didn't any government
unanswerable.
officials know about the Epstein files?
Trick question. They did.
Exactly.
All right, let's go around. What's the worst documented misuse case you know of? We'll start with you, James.
All right, so I want to say the worst documented misuse case is the one where, like, I think that cops stalking their spouses and exes and stuff like that, that's pretty bad, but there's a whole bunch of cases of that, and it's all pretty much the same. But the worst misuse I know of is a Texas sheriff using flock cameras to track a woman who was getting an abortion in a different state, because at the time abortions, or in the way that she was getting them, were illegal in Texas, but she was going out of state to get it. And so, like, I see that as just one state, trampling over another state just to try to knock a person for getting what's effectively like healthcare.
Yeah, I think that one, I don't think they realized like what a mistake that one was, because that one actually caused a lot of people to become aware of flock and actually start taking action. I think that was one of the cases that really lit a fire under a lot of people. What about you, Paul? You got any cases of misuse that strike you as really egregious?
I mean, locally, 2 Reynoldsburg cops were just let go for stalking or some nature of that. The thing that I really honed in though in the past couple of weeks is as these audit logs have been released and you start to dig through the reasons that are in there. Some of these aren't catching national attention, but you find reasons in there like develop PC, which just totally flips the whole role of police on its head. Instead of like having a reason and then searching for the evidence, they're looking through the evidence, looking for the reason, and they're documenting it in these audit logs. It'll say like develop PC, and then it'll just have like a license plate tag, and you can see they're working the system backwards. And I wish there was more documentation about that. We have it in the logs. It's hard. It's more nuanced, so it's sort of hard to articulate in the national media. That's right.
Yeah, absolutely. What about you, Van? Anything pop out at you?
I have a whole doc in front of me right now. So I'm looking at any case of misidentification, really, because that affects everyone universally. I'm more so talking about the which one is it? Oh my gosh, so sorry. The Aurora Police Department in Colorado, and they pulled a black woman, black family out of their minivan and handcuffed everyone ages 12 and up, and held them at gunpoint while they were handcuffing them, of course. And the kids there were crying for their mother. It's a travesty, and it's misidentification. This can happen with a 3 being mistaken as an 8, or a being mistaken as A through Z. It's happening, and it will happen again and again and again until the algorithm gets it right and they start catching actual criminals.
Yeah, if I could just bring up a point real quick about that.
Sure.
Flock likes to tout that they have a 93% successful rate in scanning these plates. That still leaves a 7% margin of error, where like 7% of the time they get the plates wrong. And with a lot of police departments, you know, pulling guns first and asking questions later, 7% can mean life or death, or, you know, going to jail or not going to jail for a lot of people.
Yeah, and 7% of billions of searches a month. I mean, like, that's the thing. Like, we're talking about such a massive volume. Even 1% is way too much. You know what I mean? It's just way too much. It's horrifying.
And I just saw the report that Van was talking about, and what happened in that case is they got the numbers right, but it was a different state, and they were searching for a stolen motorcycle, but they stopped the family in a van, or it was SUV or a van. So it's like, what the ALPR was wrong, but also the police, bro. You don't even know what you're looking for. You just are gonna like traumatize an entire family because you can't tell the difference between an SUV and a motorcycle. Like, it's crazy.
It's compounding error.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
Anybody else
I'm
got
no
something to
math
add?
wizard, but you know, 7% every day, that adds up pretty quickly to 100% of people.
Yeah.
True. Well, my question is how many families have been held at gunpoint now due to misreads? I mean, it seems to occur at least once a month at this stage in the game. So we got what, like a dozen families at this point? You know.
What's crazy is we have no history. Like, the awareness of this is months old, but the cameras have been in place in some place for years. So I mean, there's cases this that we don't know about.
Yeah.
And it's also compounding because, as we see on DeFlock.org, they're adding more and more cameras every single day. So it's the scale of this is only going to continue to grow.
Do we have a figure as to where we're at today? Because I mean,
I guess I got over 130,000 when I looked earlier today.
All right, because I remember it was 80,000 when I started really kind of looking into this. So that's almost double since February.
Yeah, and the other thing to consider is since those have been added, a lot of cameras have been taken down, but then switched over to Axon or switched over to Motorola. You know, so, and those are, you know, aren't being tracked as much. People, you know, Flock is the big hot item right now, and like a lot, the average person doesn't even know what's going on, that Axon and Motorola are doing the same thing. You know, so a lot of people only know that Flock is doing this. So I mean, I think that's part of the next stage of this fight, is raising awareness of what I call the Hydra. It's the surveillance state Hydra. Like, you chop one head off and then 3 more spout up that you have to deal with. And that's the problem, is that you see these cities, like, they get Flock gone, everybody cheers, and then a month later Axon is up and no one says a word because they don't even know that's a possibility. So like, that's what we got to really look into. What just happened? We just lost everybody here. Hang on.
Wait.
Didn't lose me.
I mean, I see.
There we go. We're back.
We just vanished for a second.
Scared me.
Yeah, and there's actually a research project I'm working on right now where it's like a lot of the big topic right now is, they kill the Flock cameras and then they switch to Axon. But there's actually a underlying problem where there's a lot of these, especially the larger cities, they are having all of these companies in there. They're not just having Flock. They're having Flock, Axon, Motorola, Leonardo, what is it called? The
signal trace,
gunshot detectors. They're doing everything.
Yeah.
So it's not just one company in a lot of these cities. And people think like, they just switched from Flock to Axon, but it's like, no, they already had Axon. They just are wiping out the Flock cameras and switching them over.
Yeah.
Well, it's like LAPD, you know, they just canceled theirs. They had an audit, and over a couple months, there was hundreds of people that were pulled over, and they said, like, these were vehicle hot list pullovers. And in LAPD, if somebody's on the vehicle hot list, that means you are getting pulled over, guns are drawn, they're calling a supervisor in to watch. They're usually calling in for air support. Now, you think of like the average family, if that happens to you, like, that is terrifying. You're traumatizing children potentially for their whole life. And now you have children that are afraid of the police for the rest of their life now. And you know, it's really a dangerous thing that's going on. But so they canceled their Flock contract, and everybody's like, yay, we got rid of it. I'm like, but what the audit also said, that wasn't just Flock. It was Flock and Axon and Motorola. So a lot of those people that were pulled over with guns drawn and air support flying overhead, that wasn't even Flock, and those didn't get canceled. So a lot of people are like, yay, we won in LAPD, and we won in Los Angeles. I'm like, no, it is not over there. Like, you won a battle, but that war is still raging there, you know? So yeah, we got to let people know that this Flock is not the end of this fight. It's just, right now, it's the most popular one. But
it's the marquee brand. of dragnet mass surveillance, which is the larger issue. And it's like we were talking before we were even rolling. Like, it's not a matter of what boot would I prefer on my face. It's I don't want any boot on my face. Kind of, to
Yeah.
And
rip
even in a
off all
small
the-
city like El Cerrito, where the cameras that the city had were only flock cameras, we have 8 drones. We have now Peregrine, which is, I was explaining before, it's like connecting databases, which will then be able to lock into a more predictive policing style model. That's like the baseline for it. So it's like, even if you get rid of cameras, you got to be paying attention to the whole swath of surveillance, right? Like in Oakland, they've got the shot callers or whatever, where you can hear gunshots, which it's well known that they can also hear humans, and they're actually actively using them to spy on people in the streets now in Oakland, right?
Yeah.
So we just got to be looking for all the different mechanisms of this surveillance. It's a hydra and then like a bunch of different hydras,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that gunshot detector, like I was following that one too, and yeah, when they first marketed it, it was like it sounded as if they invented a new technology that could detect gunshots and nothing else, and it was like,
Mhm.
okay, that sounds actually pretty useful. And then like slowly the marketing language changed, and then recently I saw one that it's literally said that it can detect, what was the word they used? It was something like aggressive. It can detect aggressive language.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
so you're just straight up spying and analyzing everything, anybody that walks by this thing. Like that's what that means. Like that's the only way you can do that.
Yeah, there's a new product from Flock called Flock Safety Raven, which specifically listens for human distress. And they don't go into what that is at all.
It's whatever they want it to be.
Does that come with the ball robot or?
Yeah, the one with the chainsaw.
Yeah.
All right, let's see what else we have going on here. What's the time at? So we're gonna be doing an intermission pretty soon, so everybody can get a drink or whatever. But we got a few more here. This is a question we love to ask everybody on the show. What do you say to somebody who tells you they have nothing to hide? Let me jump up to you, Van.
From what I'm on the spot now. From what I've heard is just give me your phone, unlock it. Like I want to see. Like you have such a different life from me, and yet you have nothing to hide. Just ask for their phone and ask them to unlock it with their Face ID, and they will say no. That's weird. There's your answer.
Yeah,
We're
I'll be honest,
private creatures.
that is like one of the best answers I've ever heard. Somebody said that on our show recently, and I was like, that's the one. Like that's what you say to people, because no one will do that. No one's handing you their phone. But yeah, it perfectly illustrates the point. So we may
I
have put
heard
you
it
on the
Tucker
spot,
Carlson.
but you nailed it.
Yeah.
Oh, you okay? Well, we'll give them credit, I
Yeah, I
guess.
stole it.
How about you, Eric? What do you tell people?
I tell them, don't make me tap the Edward Snowden sign. You know the quote I'm talking about, right?
Mhm.
Those who are not concerned about their right of privacy because they have nothing to hide should not be concerned about their freedom of speech because they have nothing to say. So, that usually kind of flips the script on the conversation. But I like I'm like, give me your phone thing. That's definitely puts people on the spot, because it's not a matter of that. It's just those things kind of generate other logical fallacies, like the next one is false equivalency. Like, well, your phone's tracking you. It's
Yeah.
Gosh, Fred and Nickel.
Yeah, right. I know. We could fund
do you
our
think,
own
Paul?
surveillance apparatus.
You gave me a headache just mentioning that, Eric.
I know. I'm sorry to share the PTSD with everybody, but we all.
I probably spend too much time around lovebirds. And the examples they've always highlighted for me is, and I've said this before, like if you're an inventor, like there are perfectly legal things that you would want to hide. If you're an inventor, you haven't gotten to the patent office yet to patent your next billion-dollar idea. You might not want people to know about it.
Yeah.
If you're a star quarterback, I mean, the prevalence of prediction markets, anything now in the prediction markets, there could be like an injury or something that you don't want the world to know about. You might have just had a bad day, and you don't need a 30-day record of you tripping on the sidewalk, spilling your Slurpee all over the place. And then really, it's like if companies are allowed to have trade secrets, then so am I.
Yeah. That makes sense to me. How about you, Rim? What do you tell people?
Yeah, I think I usually try and highlight for them someone they care about who might have something to hide in this climate, which I think is something that works in the Bay Area and it might not work somewhere else. Like, for example, I point out, like, flock cameras have been used to track immigrants' routes and then have ICE show up at an immigrant meeting and then arrest, detain the immigrant. Or we have a lot of No Kings protests, right? We know that flock cameras are being used to surveil people at No Kings protests, even though they're sort of just like very basic First Amendment, like bring your kids kind of protests. And so I remind them about that, right? Like, you might not have anything to hide, but we are living under fascism. And so we all have something to hide under fascism. And I think that can kind of help them understand. It's like, it brings it into the context of like the founding fathers. The reason there is a Fourth Amendment is not because we expect the government to be a disaster, but when the government is a disaster, we want the Fourth Amendment between us and the government, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Who we got? James, I don't think you've answered yet, have you?
No. So to add on to Van's point, like if it's a younger person, sometimes I'll say, all right, man, let me see your search history then.
Yeah.
That'll shut them up real quick.
Yeah.
But honestly, I didn't really have something to say about that. And this just panel of ideas has really broadened my horizons about things I could say to these people who are, I'd say, too trusting and willingly ignorant to the problems. So thank you all for that.
Excellent. Well, that's
Can I add one thing real quick? Just that Ren got me thinking about. Like,
absolutely.
the rules are different depending on which side of the state line you're on these days.
Mhm.
So, like,
True.
what you might not have to hide in one state, you might in fact have to hide in Texas now.
Right.
Which, yeah, it drives me nuts.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, that's
Which
a
is
very
a
good point.
scary thing because you can just be on a family vacation driving through a few states, and you know the laws change every few hours, right?
Yeah. No, that actually happened to me. I moved from Nevada to Tennessee in like the height of COVID, and we drove. And driving from one state to another state, it was literally like going to another country because of how different the laws were. Like, you'd be in one state, you don't see a mask anywhere in sight, like everything is open, everything is just normal. And then you go to the next state, everything is shut down, everybody is wearing a mask, no one's outside. It was just like, am I still in the same country? Like, and it was just so strange, like doing that in real time, going through states at a time where everyone was so divided and doing such different policies. You know, it's just very strange to see that. All right, let's see. I think we probably got time for one more before the intermission here. Let's pick a good one here. All right, this is a good one. I like this. We touched on this briefly, but I think it's actually a really, really important one. So let's just kind of hammer it a little bit. In your area, is this typically a left issue, a right issue, or bipartisan? How about you, Van?
I'd say it's more right leaning. I live in the sticks. I live in the mountains. There's not many left leaning people up here, for better or for worse. And of course, the people that are, they're younger and they're very aggravated about this whole situation. I'd say it's more right libertarian leaning, right Tea Party. They see this apparatus being installed and they're leave me alone, people. Just leave me alone. And I understand that.
Yeah. How about you, James? What's it like in your area?
Well, we're in I'd say we're a very purple area with a blue lean, and it's definitely been a more left-leaning, topic of conversation, but that's absolutely not the entirety. It is still, at the end of the day, a bipartisan front. I've had former city council members, local state senators, and state representatives who are on both sides, coming out in support of me. But on the ground in the city, it's definitely more of a blue lean.
Interesting. How about you, Eric? I mean, you're mostly blue there, right?
We are deeply blue. I mean, Norwalk is entirely blue. Out of the 25 elected, not a single person is anything other than Democrat. And the state collectively leans in that way. But we have, deep pockets of red, usually kind of more in the sticks area. But what I found in terms of I found the Republican contingent are starting to come on board with this notion. Prior to it, it wasn't even actually establishment Dems. I was doing a lot of work with like the DSA and Civil Liberties Union and sort of those. I mean, definitely very left leaning groups. We're the first to kind of bring it on, but really, I mean, I keep bringing it back to Milford because Milford, I think, was really like. It was definitely the catalyst to sort of change things, and that was like you get this like hardcore MAGA like USMC guy like giving a speech, and then you get entirely left. It was a great kind of amalgam of like everybody, and really established that it's not a partisan thing because it's just a basic autonomy of one just being a human being, but also an American allegedly.
Yeah, I love that. How about you, Paul?
Yeah,
What's it look like in your ear?
In the first week of September, we'll be talking to the Resistors and the UA Progressive Action Group. In the second week of September, we'll be talking to the Northwest chapter of the Franklin County GOP. So it is
There you go.
across the board here.
I love it. How about you, Ren?
Yeah, so being in the Bay Area, we have a little bit of a different political spectrum than a lot of people. I would say that the energy against Flock is definitely from the far left. I got involved in it from the Free Palestine movement, people I knew from there. And then our opposition tends to be older establishment Democrats, people who, people's homes here are worth millions of dollars. You bought a home in 1975, right? And it felt sort of like a normal home, and now it's worth $3 million or more. That really changes the way you feel about property crime, right?
Yeah.
And so I would say our opposition tends to be from the people who have those like "In My America" signs, right? They're like, I call them blue MAGA sometimes when I get frustrated, right? Like they think of themselves as liberal, they vote liberal in the national election, but when the police chief tells them that he saved some kidnapped child or a Honda with this camera, they are on board because they don't want people stealing their things, right? Property crime feels personal to them. So I would say the energy is from the left, but we have a pretty good coalition. But yeah, the opposition is from that older, blue establishment, definitely.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. What are you seeing, Nathan?
I just wanted to bring up, I think this is obviously a nonpartisan issue, which is why, it's why there's so many people that are it's more of a caste issue or a class issue where it's if you are rich and you have money and influence in your community, what does this have to do with you, right? But if you're just some guy, like 95% of us are, or girl, obviously, or whatever, but it's just like, I think we have an opportunity here to actually unite a lot of people, regardless of political affiliation, to just say, we don't want this. And this is not what anybody wants who isn't being paid by somebody who wants this.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I'm in Tennessee, and it's very mostly right leaning here, but I'm also close to Nashville, which is almost entirely blue leaning, and people it's just as popular of a topic in both areas. Like people just do not want this. Like I don't see really any division on partisan lines other than sometimes in like the actual politicians themselves, but I don't really consider their opinions as much. So, but yeah, no, it's really important for people to understand, like it doesn't matter like who you want to vote for or which side you think you're on. Like this is just like human beings versus the surveillance state. Like that's the real battle here. That's the only line that exists there. So
totally, man. It's the existential fight for our personal autonomy and however we choose to express it.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely. And that's one thing I love about this, because like we live in this era where almost every issue is divided left or right, and like everything has to always be a fight and a battle, and people are nasty, and it's just like it's very tiring. And I love this, and I think it's part of the reason why Flock has become such a huge issue right now. It's been like trending and viral on like every social platform for like the last month and a half now, and I think it's because people are like, wait, we can talk about this and not fight about it. We can all just be like, yeah, this sucks. This is amazing. So like, it's cool. It's a good rallying point. And what I've been telling people is it's the gateway drug to the surveillance state, because this is like the first time a lot of people are hearing about the surveillance state. And like, but then from there, a lot of people realize there's a lot of other things I should be looking at too. So it's one thing we can thank Flock for is like they're bringing a lot of people onto our side. So that's great.
Well, and that's just like what Rin was just saying, is that, the Democrats, you can have the normal Democrats and they're against this thing, but then you have the rich elites and then they're pro for this thing. So it's not like it's a side thing. And they try to always trap you into, oh, you're on this side, so you have to agree with everything that we do. And that's not what it's about. It's like, no, you're screwing everybody here. So it's like, I don't have to be on your side for that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And what I like to remind people is, this surveillance state has been built over the last couple of decades, and power has flip-flopped back and forth the whole time, and never once did they stop building this. So on their end, they're aligned. So we on our end, we need to be aligned as well. So we're gonna take a
Patriot Act.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Oh, sorry. You gotta love that Patriot Act.
Oh yeah.
But the terrorists, man, we got to get them terrorists.
Of course.
Yeah.
20 years ago.
All 5 of them they caught.
Oh God.
All right, we're going to take a brief intermission here for about 3 minutes or so, and everybody can grab a drink, use the bathroom, whatever they got to do, and then we'll be back for some more fun.
T-minus 3 minutes.
Stay in the shadows and make some noise. Digital freedom, yeah, that is our choice. Privacy doesn't mean not having a voice. What you wanna share is only a choice. Yeah. How you gonna tell me what I can and cannot say online? That's some fascist dystopian Orwellian mind crime. These bureaucratic acrobatics got me spastic and dramatic. They want access to your Spotify, your TikTok automatic. Every habit that you practice want to catalog and stash it in a database. Is massive as some VHS tactics, but it's tragic. These fanatics want to track us like we're cattle. Build a dragnet apparatus like the internet's a battle. I'm empowered by encryption, got conviction in my diction. Prophecies about permission, but it's freedom that's the mission for a healthy, happy nation. Not a brave new world creation where they're tracing conversations, placing agents in your basement. Really, it's about permission, but they just want our submission. Privacy, protection, freedom, they're the perfect coalition. That's the freedom I define, that's the future, that's the peak. You can freely speak your mind if you're allowed to hide and speak.
T-minus 2 minutes.
Design, they can't confine what I define. I'll shine a light and fight until we take back what is mine. That's the freedom I believe. That's the future, that's the peak. You can freely speak your mind when you're allowed to hide and speak. Hide and speak. Hide and speak. Hide and speak.
T-minus 1 minute.
Everybody posting every place that they've been. Trading privacy for likes, that's a heavy cost. In the ocean of data, the person gets lost. So we flip the switch, yeah, we go on the ground. Moving through the silence without making a sound. Not hiding because you are doing something wrong. Just defending your rights before they are gone. The room is secure, so let the session start. Speak from the brain or speak from the heart. Tell us your story, we unlock the doors. We invite the guests in here, the floor is yours. You can keep the mask on.
T-minus 30 seconds.
Privacy expresses, but opinions are free. We amplify the voices that they try to call weak. Welcome to the stream, time to hide and speak. Hide and speak, stay in the shadows and make some noise. Hide and speak, hide and speak. Digital freedom, yeah, that is our choice. Hide and speak, hide and speak. Privacy
10,
doesn't mean not having
9,
a voice.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Imagine you want to contact your friend. You got to send them something in the mail, the normal snail mail, if anybody still uses that. So one option, which is like regular email, is just a postcard. So you send that, and anybody who sees this thing along the way, they know who you are. They know who the person who's receiving it is. They know what day and time you sent it, or which one it was post stamped. They know your address, and they know the content of the message, and they know the person's address. So they got everything. They got all the information they could possibly want. So the next option would be like,
some of these other encrypted email providers that don't encrypt the metadata, like Proton, for example. That's sort of like having a postcard where the message is invisible. Maybe that's in a secret code, so nobody along the way can see the message, but they can still see the sender, they still see the receiver, they see which city it was sent from, they see your address, they see the receiver's address. More than enough information in a lot of cases to figure out what's going on right there. And again, like the subject line, that's like on the, the front of it says like, greetings from Hawaii. It's like, okay, well, now this person's in Hawaii now. And that's kind of like having the subject line visible. So then B-mail is like, you take a letter and you put it inside a safe and you seal that safe with a digital code and you ship the safe to the person, and he is the only other person in the entire world that knows what that code is. That's how B-mail is. So anybody along the way, good luck. Like, you're not getting inside. This is a safe. That's kind of how B-mail works. It's basically a vault, and the only people who have the code are you and the person that you're sending it to. All right. I think we have established very clearly that Flock is a problem. So now we're going to get to the good stuff, and that's fighting back, which is something you are all become experts in. So let's start here. What is one sentence that actually changes somebody's mind about ALPR? How about you, Ren?
One sentence. It's not just the license plate, it's the entire car.
Yep, that's a great one. I love it. Man, what do you got for us?
This is a tricky one.
Yeah.
Rin really hit it home. I guess the fact that it tracks you everywhere. It's not just one camera here. It's one camera here and then one camera near your gun store, one camera in your town hall where everyone meets to protest.
That's a really important distinction.
Yes.
You hear that?
I can't put that in one sentence, sadly, but yes, like that.
I mean, the idea that makes sense, because you hear a lot of people like, well, you're in public. You have no expectation of privacy. I can take a picture of you in public. It's not illegal. I'm like, yeah, but if you follow me from intersection to intersection for months at a time and put it all in a database and start selling that information, I guarantee you there's going to be some laws against that, So you're exactly right. It's just people focus. They think about one camera, one picture, one moment. But that's not what the problem is,
Yeah, but when the government tracks you from place to place, that's completely fine. I mean,
yeah, I don't think so.
That's not stalking.
Yeah, right. James, what do you got for us? You got a big, powerful one-liner?
Well, for me, I kind of use the data center logic where it's would you want one directly in front of your house? Where like a lot of people who support data centers, it's like, well, all the things that are against them and all the reasons why people don't like them. Would you want all those complications, like the water complications, the noise? Would you want that right next to your house? And sometimes, that changes the perspective a little bit. Or they're forced to admit that, no, actually, I would not want this directly next to me and involved in my life every day.
Yeah, no, that's a good one. I like that. You got to bring it home to people. How about you, Eric? What do you got for us?
We're only 3 upgrades away from pre-crime. I bring up the pre-crime factor. And, people are like, oh, it's just one camera here. Like, to the point. It's a node in a network, and the network is the issue. And then what that network is going to be used for. I mean, we brought this is a lot more than one line, but it's really a matter of what it's going to be used for. And if Garrett Langley is going to eradicate crime per their, mission statement, it's going to be pre-crime. That's the only way you're going to actually be able to fully eradicate crime is through that. And goodbye free will, assuming we even had it to begin with,
And, they just recently were talking about they're investing heavily into the pre-crime and trying to figure out what people do before they do it. So they're not even hiding it. That definitely is in the plan,
And I'll be straight with you all. We're probably all on that list thanks to NSPM7. I mean, half this conversation will be used against us.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I've been on lists for years. I stopped caring about those because years and years and years ago, I think this was like 2015, some article came out that said that people who subscribed to Linux Journal were on a government watch list now.
Oh, no.
I was like, okay, it's over. Forget about it. I've got to be on like 50 lists by now. If that's all it takes, never mind. Like, I don't even care anymore. You got
If you're on a list, you're doing something right.
I mean,
exactly.
That's
Now
the
it's
thing.
like Pokemon. I got to collect them all. I'm trying to get on all the lists. Paul, what about you? You got any good one-liners for us?
I mean, it's a tricky question because most of the people I talk to are at best like I haven't really had to change anyone's mind. I've met anyone who's pro flock, but if someone's kind of on the edge, they're just sort of learning about it. The thing I tell them is like, I've looked at the Columbus audit logs, looked at the UA audit logs, looked at audit logs in Cincinnati, and 98% of all the searches come from some other agency. It is not your hometown using these. It is other law enforcement reaching into your cameras. You were basically funding surveillance for other law enforcement agencies.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. And like, just people don't necessarily want to agree with somebody else's opinion, but if you're presenting them with facts, like, no, this is what the audit showed. This is what this city said. This is why they turned their cameras off. That's much more powerful, So I love that. That's a good one. Let's see. You guys, this one is just like, this may not be something everybody can answer. This is just kind of an open question. If anybody has a good answer, is there any like tactic that your group has come up with that is maybe, not used by other groups? It's something you come up with that has been really, really helpful.
Yeah, I have something I've been wanting to share. I was so excited that you were going to let us talk about tips and tricks because I've organized for different stuff at various times. And this time with Flock, it was the first time where it went really well, and it did so in a way that I didn't think was possible before. So basically what happened is we made a signal channel of people who were interested in maybe getting rid of Flock in El Cerrito, because now everybody has to be on Signal. And it was entirely decentralized, right? I'm a type A. I like to have a checklist. I have a strategy, and then we follow the strategy. None of that. There were people in this coalition that I was like just talking to my husband every day, being like, God, give me grace. Why are they going? What? This is a terrible idea. But what happened is everyone was doing what they were interested in and what they were good at, right? And so I'm spending, I love chatting with the council members and getting to know people and doing all that. And then I have, we have coalition members who are excellent at social media. I'm such a terrible social media person. So, for example, I had written with another coalition member a letter to the city council outlining all of our main points. It was beautiful. We were editing each other's writing. It was a wonderful synergy. We get it together, and someone's like, hey, we should have a bunch of people sign this. I was like, we should. So me, in my like non-social media style, I just start signaling people I know, hey, you want to sign this? I'll put your name on it. Someone else steps in and is like, wait, I can make a Google form. We can get this signed. We had like 300 signatures because they knew how to use Instagram and Google Forms. Didn't even occur to me. So by letting people do what they're interested in, what they're good at, and not trying to be too organized, and for the people like me who like to be really organized, just letting that go and doing your thing, man, it worked so good. We got hundreds of people organized in less than a month, and it was so inspiring. I felt great. I think everyone else who was involved felt great because we were doing what we wanted to do, what we thought was right and what felt good. And some stuff, it was like less efficient perhaps, right? Like some stuff just didn't happen, but that's okay. It was wonderful. I highly recommend like decentralized, let everyone focus on what they care about, and just try and let go. If you're a control freak like me, try and let go of the control because it really can work out.
Yeah, that's a really good point that, organization to some degree can be helpful to coordinate and make sure people are using their energy in a useful manner. But there's a certain point where it becomes, detrimental to it, and it's actually holding you back. And letting people do what they're really good at and what they're passionate about, you're going to get a much better response from them than if you're trying to get them to do something they're like they don't really care about. So that's a really good point. Anybody else got some good tips here?
Actually, can I bounce off of what Ren was saying? Like, there's an intersectionality since it's a whole wide variety of people, and there's like, I don't know, probably like 5 to 7 kind of key concerns and concepts that they come at. And then also everybody's coming at it with their own sort of specialty. So I think that a large challenge of the organization of this is knowing when to step in and delegate, and also just let them have their free time. We did this like mass like signal chat. It was like 60 people. We had like tech guys talking about OPSEC and worried about this, that. And we just had some like soccer moms that wanted to put lawn signs up and no. And like the OPSEC guys scared them because it's all like, you know. So we're like, all right, tech guys, you go talk over here. And then you keep one conciliary that comes in and like keeps us abreast. And then, you know, those who want to do like a bridge brigade or whatever, you guys talk over there and just kind of keep us looped. But it's an interesting experience in managing chaos and managing all these different kind of perspectives, which is great because somebody's coming from a lawyer perspective on something I didn't even think of. Like what's the security level of our actual like government website, and to assume that we're going to be able to actually oversee audits of this kind of thing. So it's actually very interesting. And I believe this is going to kind of blossom into greater civic action over a wide variety of issues now that we all know we can kind of work together. And, you know.
Yeah. There was one thing I had. It's not exactly like the most obscure method, but just go on Google Earth or go on DeFlock to start. Figure out where all the cameras in your city are, and then go on Google Earth or just go up to it in person and see where that camera is. What is it pointing at? Because I did that and I found one that was pointed directly into a dog park. You know, no roads, no cars, just, you know, people only dog park. There was another one that was strapped to a stop sign. And by talking with the local people, and especially like interviewing people at that dog park, that generated a lot of local attention against these cameras, because they're like, the locals who, if they've ever heard of Flock, all they think of is, oh yeah, license plate. Well, why is it pointed at a dog park? And so if you can find discrepancies like this, you can mold them to generate public outrage.
Okay. Very cool. Anybody else? This is the good stuff. Gotta help each other out here.
The folks on this call are probably seasoned enough. But the single most effective thing we did to drive traffic to our site was get it listed on the DeFlock.org groups page. Like once that happened, traffic really started coming in.
Yeah, no, that's a good one. That's a good place to start for sure. Absolutely. All right.
Well, yeah, and I think that's just a good point, right? It's like just create the organization, have even a Facebook page or an Instagram or a whatever, and it's just like let people know that you're not the only one that doesn't want this crap, right?
Yeah, one thing I'll say, like I reached out to lots of different groups for this stream, and the one thing that I noticed, like the biggest concentration of DeFlock groups and people seems to be Instagram for whatever reason. So if you have a group, definitely get yourself on Instagram, because they're all, you see, if you go to one page, it'll be like followed by DeFlock this, DeFlock that, DeFlock that, DeFlock that. Like everybody is supporting everyone. So like you'll see a new group start up, and then 2 weeks later they have like 500 followers, and like they're actually getting traction. So definitely I would say get yourself on Instagram if you have a new DeFlock group. That's a great way to get some community help for sure. Let's see. What's the most surprising thing that you've pulled out of a records request? Anybody?
We found with Columbus that they have 8 quick deploy LPRs. We don't even know. It's like just a hat that someone puts on and walks around with. Like we had no idea. Like what this quick deploy thing is. The police, the city council, nobody's ever talked about it. It's just kind of buried in the contract.
Yeah, I've seen they have. They kind of look like, you see like the radar detectors that the police will have, like those weird little trailer they pull up and set up. They have things like that for Flock that have ALPR on them. They have facial recognition cameras. They have a drone docking station and control station. They have microphones, for the gunshot detection or aggressive speech or whatever they're doing, calling it that week. And it's just like this one-stop shop. It has a generator built in, so they can rent them for like, if there's going to be a protest, they love to use them, and they just pull that thing in there, set it up, and they have all of the surveillance tech available immediately. And it says on their own marketing information that all the officers that are connected to it have instant access to live video feeds or have instant access to all of the data that's being collected. So they're saying it's just anybody, that's working with this will have access to the drones, to the microphones, to the cameras, and they could just look at it in real time. So it's just, it's horrifying because like there's no infrastructure there. They just pull that thing up, set it up, turn it on, and it's got everything. So that's probably what they're talking about in your contract there.
Let's see. When a city cancels Flock and signs with Axon, it doesn't really change a lot. Is your group strictly focused on Flock safety, or are you against all ALPR technology? How about you guys, James?
Yeah, originally, the tagline is no flock in Troy, but that's just to get people to turn their heads. In all reality, the contract that we're trying to push on the city council members will put a moratorium on any ALPR system and any additional contracts with Flock, Axon, and Motorola, which are the three biggest local companies in our area.
Very cool. How about you, Ren?
Yeah, I'll be honest, and I think this varies within our group. So we have some people, especially on the city council, and maybe sort of less involved, who really were sold by the fact that Flock is a terrible actor. They're not just a bad actor; they're a terrible actor, as we've already discussed. And so they are open to some sort of other contract, right? However, the core of us, are organizing a pledge. We're in election season as well. We have city council seats up, as well as other elections running. So we're organizing a pledge that we're hoping all the candidates will take, which does include not only just cameras, ALPRs, but also all other forms of mass surveillance, which defined quite broadly, in the hopes that we can really push people to understand that this isn't just about Flock, right? It's even just explaining to people that there's a difference between a CCTV and an ALPR style camera, right? If you're taping to video at your drugstore, I don't know. I don't feel terrible about that, right? The cops need a warrant to get that. Hypothetically, they at least need a warrant to get that, right? What we're talking about is like yes, understood. But there is a difference, right? We're talking about like a nationwide mass surveillance dragnet, and I think that's something that everyone in El Cerrito should be able to get behind, being against that. And so we're trying to push people. We're trying to get us a pledge signed.
Very cool. Very cool. Van, what about you guys?
So me personally, and the couple of people who do post on the page are completely against ALPRs. Since I'm a relatively new org, I don't know everyone else's opinion on this in the local city council and the people that showed up to the Free Citizens for Lumpkin meeting. But I'm anti-LPR, and I want to get Flock out of Dahlonega first and go from there.
Perfect. How about you, Eric?
Yeah. I'm basically Flock first, then we'll deal with the rest. Kind of like as if we were fighting 5 people at once. You kind of deal with the one that, and also Flock is there. It's deployed, at least in Connecticut. It's there, it's deployed. It has enough kind of, it's broken through to sort of, popular consensus at this point in time. That said, the issue is dragnet mass surveillance. So Axon's not going to be a viable replacement. It's nice to see that, or at least I thought originally before I saw everybody going Axon, that they're trying to make kind of concessions to the cause. But yeah, it has to be the other ones after the fact. But for now, we got to focus on Flock first because it's there, it exists, it's getting a wide amount of press from all over. Yeah. And there seems to be a kind of a mass effect in that movement. From that, then we stop Signal Trace and Axon and Motorola and whatever other kind of monstrous thing they're going to devise after that fact. But Flock first, then the others.
Yeah, like I was saying, Flock is the gateway drug to mass surveillance.
Yep.
Paul, what about you?
Yeah, agreed. First, I want to thank Eric for going outside. This subject is agitating, and seeing the trees is just calming. So I appreciate that. Now, in our group, we're working on basically drafting an ordinance that we're trying to target to put on the ballot, because what they call an ALPR today could be a flying car metric radar tomorrow. Right? The name is going to change. You think about the rate at which computers got smaller. Like, these cameras are going to get smaller. The technology is going to evolve. To simply say no Flock, it's going to fall far short of this.
Oh, absolutely. All right, let's see. What do we got next here? Has anyone in your group heard directly from Flock or from your police department because of this work? How about
How about you, Paul? Let's kind of change our order up, but
We have not heard. I mean, I guess I've been in the city council room when the flock person talked. But they were not talking about. So that's as close as we've come to anyone from flock, and we've not heard. We've also not engaged the police, so that's as much on us.
gotcha. How about you, James? Any direct contact with Flock or anything?
Well, no direct contact with Flock, but a lot of direct contact with our local PD. In fact, the very first city council meeting I walked straight into there, and within the first 30 seconds, the police chief of my city walked up to me and says, "Hey, you're the Flock guy." And he gives me his card. I got it right here. And yeah, I've been talking with him a bit, kind of figuring out some of the things that weren't ironed out in the contract, and I notified him about a few different cameras, but right now he's kind of gone cold turkey on me for the past week. So let's hope that he responds, but if not, I know that we have them scared and annoyed.
Very good. How about you, Ren? Any contact with Flock or the police?
Yeah, no direct contact that I'm aware of with Flock, other than sort of heckling each other in the council meetings. But definitely with the police, I will say, I don't know if it's to the police chief's credit, but the police have been very open. We have been emailing Police Chief Keith, and then Captain Caputo came at the city council meeting, gave a presentation. He's the one who said that Flock told them the cameras would be down by August 18th. He publicly announced his email address, which I then wrote down and verified and gave to everyone. So we have been emailing them, and they have been fairly responsive. I think that in contrast to what some people in El Cerrito think and what I've heard from some other people on this chat, our government has been very responsive to us. We managed to organize enough people to make them pay attention, and they have been paying attention, and they're taking us seriously. And I appreciate that even when they disagree with us or whatever, or we're hounding them, they have stayed polite and maintained contact with us. I think that's really important.
Very good. That's cool. How about you, Van? Any contact with Flock?
So kind of like James had, not with Flock, but
The police?
I've had county commissioners speak about, like, through Flock, being like, "Oh yeah, they showed us this and that, and that it's perfectly safe, perfectly fine." Only contact I've had with the local police is the sheriff and his deputy, and just talked about why I don't like this and they like this, and he had a very confused attitude about how it's been around forever. Why is it a big deal now? And the funny part is, he's like, my conspiracy theory is that it's Axion and all these other companies trying to give Flock a bad rap so that people swap to those companies. No, they just don't like getting spied on. But no, that's the only interaction I've had. And one more thing, I missed out on the when we were talking about tactics and stuff like that. You can submit a FOIA to your local city council or your local sheriff's department for your license plate and your license plate only. So if you get tens of people to do that, they have to comb through these flock cameras and find your license plate every time you used it or gone past it. So if you want to abuse that, by all means, give them hell. That's just something fun to do on a Saturday night.
Hypothetically, if you figured out, like, one of your governing officials, like the mayor or the city councilman's license plate, could you theoretically do a FOIA request on that license plate? Or is there like some kind of law against that?
It depends probably on your state. In California, for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, in Norwalk, they're all company cars, so they're paid for by the city, so they're definitely FOIA-able. And I highly recommend everybody FOIA everything. At least in Connecticut, it doesn't cost us any money, unless we get like copies or whatever. I know somebody in Nevada they could charge them like $1,000 for. Yeah, it's insane. So at least in Connecticut, we get a free bill. So I'm like, yo, everybody FOIA everything. At this stage in the game, we don't need like the service agreements or stuff like that. We got that, through the wazoo. We need the audit logs, an idea of the actual contract, how many cameras, where they're at. Those are like the kind of key, crucial things. I mean, that is my hope for no ALPR week, is that everybody everywhere sends a FOIA, and use Muckraker or Muckrock, because that thing, it makes it accessible to everybody. So I can go check out Richmond, Virginia's, or I can check out like Texas's, or they could check out Norwalk's, what have you. So
Very cool.
yeah.
Yeah, and it's I think that it's good for everybody to get familiar with the process with the FOIA, because Flock is they're now removing the officer names and the plate numbers from the public audit logs, because that's how they keep getting caught misusing them. Because people will go search their license plate and see, well, why did this one officer search my plate 250 times in the last couple of months? And that's how most of these cases have actually come to light. And Flock is shutting that down. They're taking off the officer names. They're putting just a randomized number that we can't figure anything out from, and then getting rid of the license plate number. So you're not going to be able to, effectively trying to break websites like Have I Been Flocked and other tools that use that. So it's going to get to the point where the only way to get your hands on that data is with the FOIA request. And like was mentioned, some states are trying to charge you insane amounts of money to do that, to make it so that nobody has access to the data. So yeah, it's getting more difficult by the day. So, I think the FOIA request, do it while you can and see what's going on here, because that's where a lot of this stuff comes to light. All right, let's see what else we have here. So one thing's become a huge issue, I noticed, so we follow stories all over the place, and what I keep seeing is, some city will have a meeting to talk about Flock cameras, and they'll be like, oh, this is Tuesday morning at 9:30 a.m. Who the heck can go to a city council meeting on Tuesday morning at 9:30 a.m.? You know what I mean? I think it seems pretty obvious they're doing it intentionally to make it so it's very, very difficult to oppose. And I'm sure that has that been a problem in your area? Let's start with you, Eric. Have you seen that in your area?
I mean, I started running for politics about 3 years ago, so I'm pretty well versed in sort of the way the Common Council kind of operates. And yeah, I mean, they're always going to kind of jam schedules. I mean, they did it with the budget. There was like a informational thing, and then there was the budget thing. So the informational thing totally has no people showing it, because everybody wants to have a determination of how they spend the money. But yeah, it's intentionally obtuse on purpose, and it's intentionally set up at some random times to not get the quantity of people required to elicit any kind of change. I mean, we had our meeting in mid-April. I had to force them for about a month to kind of make that happen, and then we got punted off to a subcommittee of the Common Council, and the police chief came and he gave his kind of spiel about it and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, they're gonna make it difficult, and you just gotta make it difficult for them. I mean, they are elected officials. They work for us. And most of them are going up for re-election, so they want to get rehired for the next cycle. So if they don't do the work, hold them accountable and find somebody else. It's basically, I think, where we're at this kind of game.
Absolutely. Paul, what about you? You guys seeing that in your area?
Yeah, it's been a real pain. I've had to take time off at work. It is. It's a real pain to coordinate this stuff. On the flip side of the coin, crashing the economy, could have been a mistake. It's a number of, poor souls who've showed up and been like, well, I'm a scientist and now I'm unemployed, so I guess I'm looking for a fight. We've had a fair number of that too. But they're certainly putting them at times that are not conducive to public attendance.
All right, cool. What about you, Van? You guys getting them scheduling problems?
I haven't gone. I've gone to a local club meeting, and they addressed Flock, and that's why the sheriff barged in and decided it was his time to talk. But from what I hear, that's even common on the federal level. Whoever's in charge of the Congress at the time will end up picking bad times for bills that the other side puts out, just to make it so less votes come in. But no, I haven't had any of that yet. Fortunately, but it'll come soon, I'm sure.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. How about you, James?
Yeah, just like Van said, fortunately, we haven't had any weird scheduling conflicts. But yet again, besides for what my group has been doing, coming up on an upcoming city council meeting, Flock really hasn't been addressed in the city council, besides for them renewing the contract, which came at no contrast. So I guess if they were going to change up any kind of meeting, it would be the one that I've been telling everybody to go to for the past 3 months. So if they do that, then we're screwed. But thankfully, nothing like that has come out yet.
No, that's good to hear. How about you, Ren?
Yeah, no, we really haven't had that issue. I will say it's been a real education on how local government is run here in El Cerrito. So we have basically standing city council meetings every other Tuesday, and there's a bunch of committees, including the Community Safety Committee, which I have recently joined, which is the entry point into anything police, right? So, for example, the chief of police came and presented to the safety committee about Peregrine so that he could go to the city council and say, I've spoken with the 4 people who showed up to the public safety committee and they all think Peregrine's great. So I'm getting it, you know? And so, but those meetings are in the evening after work hours. They are regularly scheduled. It's on the website. You can find them. It does take some time to parse out the different agendas, but I have to say that the administration of the city has done a very good job about sort of maintaining the regular schedule and making it accessible as well. I think this is coming out of lockdown, but not those. The public safety committee is not available online, but the city council meetings are. So you can comment online. You can see the whole thing. Yeah. So I have to say we haven't really run into that.
Yeah, it's so interesting. Like, you know, you see through issues like this how different local governments work from one state to the next. And, you know, a lot of people, I saw people that were kind of giving DeFlock flack for not, you know, making a more national play, you know, and trying to like more organize things on a national level and have nationally organized events for the week of action. And I was just like, you know, that it's just not possible because what works in one state is just going to do nothing in the next state. So like, what he has done is, you know, the American way, like leave the states to figure it out themselves. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of how the country's supposed to work. So that's what they're doing for the National Week of Action. And it really is the most logical approach, you know, because you're all attempting to do the same things and you're all getting very, very different responses from the people that you have to work with. And in some cases, the people that you have to work with are different in different positions and different committees and things. So
absolutely.
There's no toolkit you could make that is like applicable to every city. So that's why it's so important for these local groups to exist and help support each other because like no one's going to know better than the other people around you in your local region. So very cool. So let's get into this. We got the National Week of Action is coming up. It starts tomorrow, which is very, very exciting. Hang on, I'll throw the URL up there so people can find it. NoALPRs.com. Got a lot of information there. So let's talk. What do your groups have anything planned for the National Week of Action? How about you, Ren?
Yeah, absolutely. So Flock Out El Cerrito is having a party today to kind of kick it off and let everyone know about our pledge that we're hoping to get our candidates to sign, and then also all of the other Bay Area Week of Action events. I would love to shout out a few if that's okay, because we got events in Vallejo, Oakland, Berkeley, San Francisco. I think in El Cerrito, we're having our party and we're telling everyone about the other events because we're pretty small and we're surrounded by a lot of bigger places. So we're just trying to get everyone, you know, they have, it's all on the website, but you know, they're having kickoff rallies, teach-ins, marches, a lot of different things that are available for people at different times and places. And I think we're also going to be encouraging, we're doing a little crafting at our party today. We're going to be encouraging people to take pictures of themselves with signs next to the cameras that are almost certainly still going to be up. And then maybe we can post them on our Instagram to just sort of show like, hey, it's way more, it's 2 months now. It's more than 2 months since the contract ended and we still have cameras that appear to be operating. So yeah.
We see you seeing us.
Exactly.
How about you, Eric? You guys doing anything?
I mean, we're an organization. We're a bunch of kind of little pockets that have kind of formed a molecule, if you will. I'm going on the radio on Monday to go have a debate with the, I guess, Republican commentator about this. I was literally getting coffee yesterday. I heard it on the radio. He's like, where are all these anti-Flock people? So I call him up. I'm like, yo.
Here we are.
Yeah. Hi. So we set it up. We're going to talk Monday at 2. I'm pushing, again, everybody for you. Everybody. Connecticut's a little different. I mean, you guys have basically there's 169 municipalities. Each municipality can kind of determine how they want to do things. And they all operate in 7 different forms of government. But it also gives a lot of power because we have what's called a charter. This is why we're the constitution state. So we can actually set up ordinances to kind of prevent, at least future surveillance apparatus like flying under the radar. Now we can set up an ordinance where it requires some kind of public involvement before anything gets signed off. So we're pushing on that on a larger scale. But for this week, I got about maybe 12 to 13 different kind of randoms that have reached out to me. So I'm going to help them start their own little DeFlocks in their pockets of places and connect them with the appropriate people. And really, I mean, like I said before, it's like, if we're going to go up against this network, we need to form our own network. And I don't know. Do you guys feel like you're a psyop? I don't think I'm a psyop. I'm pretty certain. Like I'm 92% certain I'm a real person. But the powers that be are
I'm
gonna
getting paid by the Israeli government, so
yeah, right, exactly. Yeah. But this started organically, and I think it's going to continue organically. And really, kind of, I'm looking at it as like we're growing a meadow, so to say. So I'm going to help seed and flower wherever I can, and help those that are starting to step up and those that are midway through their fight. I mean, there are people that have gotten far more traction in Connecticut than we've gotten in Norwalk, but we go help them, they come help us. And that's really what I think that's what this week is going to be about. There's going to be a lot of impromptu stuff. We got an informational happening. We're also going to be doing in that informational a testimonial writing workshop. So we all come together, we all write like a testimonial as to what our issue is with Flock, and we send it to our council people, and we send it to our senators and our representatives that are up for election in 3 or 4 months. Information and action, ideally together in the same thing, will yield the best results for us. Because I mean, we all got real jobs too. We're fighting the man in our private time and our personal time. So
absolutely.
Well, Eric, you got my vote.
All right, cool. Well, come move to Norwalk. I need a lot more.
Paul, what do you guys got going on this week?
We are coordinating with Indivisible to get they stand with those giant letters, spell things out over the freeway.
Awesome.
DeFlock messaging going on there. We're going to drop 120 approximately postcards, just informational postcards in the mail. We've picked out the people who, I mean, in my town, there's people whose driveways, backyards are within view of these cameras, and we think these people should know. So we're going to send these postcards to them.
Nice.
Awesome.
We've got just 20 cameras in my little town here, so we've got 20 little yard signs that we're going to try to deploy in front of them. We're not quite sure how that's going to go, but we're going to give it a run. And if there's anyone who's willing to pay me to do this, like, please do reach out.
Amen.
let me know if you find them.
Yeah, for real.
Seriously.
Maybe
Pass
get me
that
like
around.
got to get that Soros money.
Ben, you guys got anything special happening this week?
I've been swamped with school, but I think importantly is just getting the word out. So I'm gonna go print out some flyers and stick them on flock cameras. And there's some that are bolted into light poles on campus that aren't marked on DeFlock, which is very worrying. So I'm gonna go get some flyers, tape them on there. I'm gonna try and find a sponsor for my club, and just get the word out.
Beautiful.
That's all I can do right now.
Very cool. How about you guys, James? What do you got going on?
Well, in Michigan, in southern Michigan, we have an annual tradition called the Woodward Dream Cruise, where people come out to the street called Woodward and they'll show off all their fancy cars. There's tens of thousands of people who attend this thing, and so that's actually later today. And so later today, me and a buddy of mine are going to go out with a DeFlock sign and literally we have a pole, and we're going to put the sign in front of a flock camera as it's trying to scan these thousands of cars that are going through. And hopefully we can get picked up on by local news, get a couple pictures, get it up ground and running. But besides for that, we really don't have anything planned. But maybe I'll use some of these ideas that you guys have given me and start organizing a little bit more.
Awesome. I love it. All right, let's see what else we got going on. So the toolkit lists ALPR 101 sessions, town halls, camera scavenger hunts, canvassing, watch parties, and marches. Which of those do you think actually helps bring in people that weren't already interested in this stuff? What do you think, Van?
It really depends on how you do it. I would say marches, if you get a big enough or a loud enough crowd, people will be like, why are these people so angry and yelling or being so calm and having nice, pretty signs? Um, Watch parties, not so much. I think those are more informative, and those are for people that just hold on. Those are for people that just need a leg up on their information,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, that makes sense.
so, yeah.
What do you think, James?
I'd say that marches and I guess generating clips of people, talking about why they don't like this thing, X or Y thing. I actually did a small mini series on my account talking about how you can get the message out for towns based on their population. And for like a medium sized town, write letters to the editor of the local newspaper, reach out to local news stations, and just try to generate as much of a stink as possible. And I really like the idea of sending out postcards or knocking on doors of people who are like within a quarter mile of these flock cameras, because those are the people who are directly affected by them.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that a lot. I've honestly never heard that tactic before. I think that's going to be really powerful. I know that would get my attention. What do you think, Ren?
I really have wanted to do a flock scavenger hunt. I think that would be really fun. I don't know how many more people would get involved, but we have a lot of parents in our group, and I think it could be a really fun, kid-friendly event. And I think that's kind of the idea I'm hoping for with this sign thing is like, find your nearest flock camera and take a picture of yourself in front of it. Let us know that, that you see it. Because one of the things that in El Cerrito, we might get rid of our 41 cameras eventually, but there's county cameras, CHP cameras, Richmond cameras, right? Kensington, tiny little city, has 5 of them. All of those cameras are all around us. So even if they take down all the El Cerrito contract cameras, there will be plenty of Fox cameras for people to find in a scavenger hunt.
Very cool. That does sound fun. And that's, one thing we're trying to do is, like, a lot of people think that all this stuff is like boring and it's just depressing to hear about. So we're always looking for ways to like make it more interesting and more fun for people. So it's not like a huge downer. And that's why we really try to focus a lot, all the victories. Anytime I look every week, we do privacy news stories that we post, and I'm always looking for any of the victories because I want to show people like, this isn't impossible. We can do this. People are having success here. People are getting the cameras out. Like, don't lose hope. Like, there's a lot of people just think like, it's too much. We're never going to win. Like, we should just give up. And it's like, no. That's not the case at all. It's the exact opposite of that. So do we miss anybody here? I'm sorry. Been through so many questions.
It was the questions of methods, right?
Yeah.
I found canvassing happens to be extremely effective, at least from our vantage point. I was able to facilitate a bunch of press, but that's just from pestering them. And I actually used to work for the paper a while ago, so I was able to kind of dust off some favors. What we have going on right now in Connecticut, as well as the ALPRs, is we have these now speed cameras that are traffic enforcement, which everybody's getting taxed out the wazoo over it. So they're extremely irate about that. So what we've been doing is we've been crashing these speed camera meetings and talking about the ALPR on that. So we're able to kind of like
nice
segue our thing into something that's not on the agenda. And oftentimes you'll get like a common council person be like, well, that's not the thing, but we already turned 3 or 4 people in that meeting towards what we're talking about. And they usually come, we talk, and we bring them into the fold. So really actually leveraging the ignorance that people have about these different kind of cameras to actually inform them of what it is and why this is kind of worse than you paying $100 fine because you're going 50 in a 25-mile-an-hour school zone, which you probably shouldn't be doing anyway. But and it seems to be effective because like I think one town raised over like $3 million in a month in these, because it was something like 300,000 violations in that month, which is like, all right, well, you got to do something about that. It's a larger thing. So they're irate, leverage the sort of the ignorance and kind of bring it towards the wisdom of what these things are and why they're worse. And again, I'm here now because I connected with almost all you on social media. So definitely, if you have the skills and ability, utilize that. I don't really mess around with Facebook that much because, you get a lot of agitation bots on that, and a lot of kind of like, I'm not looking to fight with anybody at this stage in the game. And Facebook, it's all like, well, you're wrong, and the First Amendment is not a right to be wrong, is what people keep saying to me. I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? You know what I mean? Like it's so leverage the social media you got, but I really think connecting with your neighbors is really the crucial thing, because they're the people who are going to be up there with you, helping them come down. I mean, El Cerrito knows, you guys know, and the more you can kind of bring into the fold, the better we're going to do.
I think that's a great point. Just bringing it up even just with your friends, your local groups or wherever, the restaurant you hang out with in the morning or the cafe, whatever, just letting people know, because pretty much everybody that you talk to about this is on the same side. Nobody wants this. They just don't know about it. So it's really just people getting the information out, because you're not going to hear about this on the mainstream news. They're not talking about flock cameras, all right, until people speak up about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
All right. So I got to point one here. And Paul, I'm going to ask you, because I know this is a question that you are very familiar with. For somebody who is watching, or somebody who is, getting interested in fighting back against flock, but there are just no groups in their area, what do you do?
Get a page. It doesn't matter if it's a social media page or a website or whatever, and get it on that DeFlock groups listing, and then reach out to the other groups. Like, if there's other groups in your state, they are more than likely very happy to help you and can give you all sorts of groups.
Cool. Yeah, I love that. That's why I knew. So Paul, he had just gotten started, a few weeks, maybe months before our first stream, and I've been watching, and it's crazy. He's done so much already. I've been watching them grow. He's sending awesome emails out, getting people engaged, and it's beautiful to see, how far this can go in such a short time when somebody's really motivated. I've been watching all you guys now too, now that I've become familiar with you from booking you on the stream, and it's just amazing to see all the different tactics and the different ways that you guys are all approaching it, and having success. And it just shows that there's so many different ways to approach this. So even if you're not interested in doing what some other group is doing, it doesn't mean there isn't something that you can do that will also be helpful. So, and I think it was Rin was saying earlier, letting people focus on their strong points, it's so important, and that's where we're really going to get the best ideas forward, because if everybody's following the same playbook, that might work well on a certain type of person, but it's something completely different would be much better for somebody else. And that's why it's so important to have all those different ideas coming together. Let me see here. What about someone whose town doesn't have any cameras yet? Is there something they should be doing now to get ready for this, to prepare or block them from getting in there? What do you think, Eric?
Absolutely, for sure. I mean, the most important thing is for those people to pay attention to their council's agendas, because a lot of times you get maybe at best a week notice as to what the thing's going to be. If you don't have an inside track with somebody on the council, you got to wait for the thing to be printed. I know Connecticut, legally, they got to print it within 48 hours of when it's supposed to happen. And that's usually when we're getting the information as to what the case is. So the first step is to keep an eye to see if anything's coming down the pipe. I mean, we're doing that right now since we're fighting flock. We're keeping an eye for Leonardo and any of the other kind of other brands that are going to become problematic, because this is about the time they'll start talking about it. And then 4 months from now is when they'll be voting to cut the check. So we're you got to maintain vigilance on your local thing. The upshot of that is you're going to probably see a bunch of stuff that actually, outside of this privacy evasion, affects you on your existential day-to-day life, that you'll be like, oh wow, they're removing parking limitations. I can't be. We can't find where to park. You're going to find other stuff to come involved with. And again, this fight is crucial, but I think it's going to build a much larger kind of a movement of more engaged citizenry than we've had in a long time, because we need it right now, I think, to counteract whatever we got going on a federal level.
Hey guys, I apologize. This is a great group. This is a great convo. Thank you all for the fantastic work. I do have to drop actually for a group meeting, so I hope to talk to you all later.
Yeah,
Bye, Paul.
We're gonna be
Thank you
wrapping
so
up
much.
in a few minutes.
Bye,
You're not
Paul.
going to miss much. So thank you
Take
so much
care.
for joining. Always great to talk to you. Take care.
Thanks, Paul.
All right. Let's see.
I just wanted to jump. Yeah, I wanted to jump on what Eric was saying, if I could. So we have organized not just within our flock out, sort of starting with flock out and then branching out a little bit into other people who are interested in local politics, just a assignment of people who are going to go to each city council meeting. Since we have 2 a month, it's a lot, right? And they can be long. Even the ones that aren't contentious are 3 hours long. And the ones that are contentious are 6 hours long or more. So it's like, I sign up for one and then someone else signs up, and it's just, they can just report back. They'll look at the agenda. They'll know what's going on. And if something big's happening, they can let us know. Right. And so dispersing that responsibility has been really great. It's not your individual thing. Make a group of people who are interested. And listen, maybe they're not with you on Flock right now, but maybe they really care about the potholes or the bike lanes or whatever. Hey, and be like, hey, okay, I'll let you know if they're going to talk about your thing at the meeting I'm going to. I'll give you a rundown of what happened if you do the same for me. I really encourage people to sort of, just organize that, I mean, I love an Excel spreadsheet. So
Yeah, that's a great message. I think, encourage people to agree on what we agree on. Like, let's put away what we don't agree on, and like we all can agree on this. So
Absolutely. Anybody else have any good answer for that? What do you do if your town doesn't have any cameras? Any preparation?
I would say just preemptive action. Just go out there and try to get a bill passed that says, no, we're going to keep it this way. If we don't need them now and they're only going to hurt us in the future, why even think about having these things? That's what I'd say to someone who's lucky enough to live in a place with no ALPRs. Just go out and keep it that way.
Makes you wonder if any of those places are still out there.
Well, this is what I was going to say. So you got to be careful. Just because your town doesn't, and this is going to be different state by state, right? But just because your town doesn't have cameras doesn't mean that your county, like in California, our counties have sheriffs, right? Our cities have police departments and our counties have sheriffs. The state, the California Highway Patrol runs flock cameras. There's a ton. I almost guarantee you, if you live somewhere in the United States, someone has a flock camera watching you. Figure out it could. They're also now in Home Depot parking lots, right? They're all over. So I would actually just not that you shouldn't try and be proactive and get a thing against it, but like I would say, if you don't think there are flock cameras, you haven't looked hard enough, because they're probably around. Find your whatever municipality, county, special district, Home Depot, Lowe's, Target that has the flock camera, find it, and then see if you can get some people to be against it with you.
Yeah, no, I like that. Absolutely. So, I think. Go ahead. Who's that?
And another thing, if you are solo and there's nobody else within your crew, I would start looking to other organizations. Like me personally, the DSA in Connecticut has been indispensable. Actually, DSA across a couple different states I've been talking to, they've been very instrumental. They're basically the vanguard in terms of the political parties that are actually fighting this. Which actually, Van, I want to make a comment. You're in college now, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I know that the YDSA are doing a lot of campus actions, because apparently the cameras are everywhere on like every college campus.
Yeah. It's a pain in the ass.
Oh yeah, 100%. So they may be an organization worth checking into. The young DSA basically is what it is.
I'm already talking to I'm going to the Progressives meeting next Tuesday.
All right, cool.
As someone who's a libertarian, I just want all the help to get all these cameras out of here.
Yeah, like, you don't got to share all the politics, but you definitely share the kind of the issue at stake. And we're going to see a lot of us put down any kind of philosophical sort of stopgaps to deal with like mass surveillance.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here's the thing. This is something I found really, really interesting. I've talked to people, to like hardcore conservatives that are super, super, super pro-life. Like, they will fight it till the day they die. And specifically talked to them about that case in Texas, about how flock cameras were used to track that woman. And they're like, while I am against abortion, I still think that's really messed up and that shouldn't be allowed. So like, that's the thing, like the surveillance issue itself, if you forget all the other stuff, you just the actual issue of the surveillance, there's no party lines there. Like it's just the people don't want surveillance. So like, Yeah,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter which box you're checking, as long as you're checking the box that says no surveillance.
It's totally fundamental. It's totally like a fundamental, like, I mean, it's constitutional fundamental thing, which, I mean, we're all, wearing our colors based on our interpretation of that document. But dang, I had another point and it totally escaped me. Anyway.
No worries.
Yeah.
I just want to mention how really beautiful it is to go through my following list. What I have, and just see people of all stripes, shapes, and colors, and they all like come together and agree that this cannot happen here. This will not happen here. This isn't China. This is America. We need to keep our Fourth Amendment. And I think that's a very important thing to leverage with everyone you talk to. Is like you can be an anarchist or a pro-life authoritarian, and you can see this as something that it goes over party lines and it goes over authoritarian or libertarian. This is something that is the gut of our nation, is the right to privacy, and so that protects the right to your First, Second, and all your other amendments.
Absolutely.
And I encourage people to use this as the example to people to say, we can work together. Even if we disagree about almost everything, there are going to be things that we do agree on, and we can work together and accomplish things. And to let's focus on that. Like, instead of always trying to flip. So what do you think that I don't agree with? Like, that seems to be that's everybody's first question. Whenever they're coming across somebody for the first time, they're looking for the argument. They're like, well, let's find the thing that I disagree with and talk about that. Well, no, try the other way. Look for the thing you agree on, because you'll be surprised. There's actually a lot more that you agree on, most likely. You know what I mean? Like, if you break it down, like, most people don't like being set on fire. And most people don't like the ground. If you really made a list of everything you could possibly have an opinion on, we're all going to agree about a lot more things than we're going to disagree about. You know what I mean? So let's focus on that. Use this example and say, hey, what else do we all agree on? Let's all come together on that too, and keep it moving. Let's find all the things that we can actually come together as a whole nation and put more energy into that. And I think that's going to, have a healing effect for everybody, and kind of let's get away from the division.
Yeah. I wanted to say that I think this is one of the reasons I really enjoy local politics, is because, and I think Flock is a perfect example of this, because sometimes when we go to the national level, there's the things that are on the line sometimes at the national level are really powerful and scary and strong. And at the local level, we have to see each other every day, right? Mm-hmm. Even the people who are super for Flock, those people are my neighbors. We have a lot in common. We ride the same buses, we go on the same roads, we use the same library, right? And so it's actually, it's not even so much for me about healing division as it is about recognizing a new or different way to do politics, where we can have a disagreement vehemently. Like, you think I'm an idiot, and what are you talking about? Mass surveillance is the best thing that's ever happened. But then tomorrow I can be like, hey, didn't you say you love trees? We need more trees. Let's get council member so-and-so to fund some more trees over here or whatever, right? And I think I'm really hoping, as we keep moving forward in Flock Out El Cerrito, that we can continue to use that model and be an example of that, because because that's the only way local politics works. It really.
Sure.
Yeah, definitely. I did a interview with another guy a couple weeks back, and his whole tagline for his show, and he actually gave me a shirt, was "Make politics local again." And honestly, that message really resonated with me. He offered he said that the federal government is going to do what the federal government wants to do. If they want to tax you, they're going to tax you, and you really only have a say on who the president is. But at the local level, I mean, your city council members are your neighbors. Your police chief lives a block away from you. And these are people who don't live in some kind of mansion in Martha's Vineyard. They live on your city block. And you can go and have a conversation with them. You can send them an email and they'll respond. And so these local issues are really where we have to attach ourselves to and fight the hardest on, because it's things that we can actually change.
Yeah, absolutely. Very cool. All right, let's see. We're just about over here. We've gone past the 2 hours, but there's a few more important ones here that I think we should ask. What would you consider a victory this week? What are you hoping to see? What is going to make you feel like this week has been a success? How about you, Van?
I just want someone to walk up to me and be like, "Hey, I see you putting up flyers. I see you. I see you advocating for this. Why are you doing this?" I want someone to get involved in local politics, like James was saying, because that's really important, especially as a younger adult. It is important to see people get involved, whether they're for or against Flock, preferably against, but it would be nice to have someone just stick up and stick out.
Yeah, I love that. How about you, Ren? What's a victory look like for you this week?
Well, I got a reach goal, which is the cameras actually come down. That'd be amazing. And then I got a more reasonable goal, which is that we get a few more people locally interested. We're going to have some different local candidates and mayors coming to this party. I'm hoping that we can really just give people some more information. Let them know this is not good. We're trying to get rid of these cameras and just bring them into the fold. That would be really great.
Awesome. How about you, Eric? What's a victory look like this week?
Oh, you're muted.
You're muted, dude.
Can you hear me now?
Perfect.
Yes.
Age check. All right, Brent, I see you there. But personal victory will be when I debunk the 5 or 6 logical fallacies a Republican radio host is going to throw at me. So that'll be a good little thing. I know Milford is having a discussion with their common council and their police chief and the Flock people. So 300 people at that would be a victory as well. And getting the groups that I'm kind of dangling as we're trying to figure out our organizational structure, getting them on board, getting them equipped, getting them FOIA, getting them their public safety committee meeting, and really just kind of keep the ball moving. We have a pause. A pause does not mean to stop. A pause means that we got to push harder, because now they're kind of hemming and hawing. They want to see more data. They want to figure out how they can kind of put guardrails up. But we're kind of off the road at this point in time with this kind of stuff. No, we're not going to guardrail our way out of this kind of deal.
Yeah.
I was very active in March. There was state legislation specifically about the ALPRs, where we went down to like 21 days, and they're not allowed to, share with, federal agencies, but they still share with the fusion data centers that then share with them. So it's like,
Yeah.
you're not sharing direct, you're sharing 3 times over indirect. The information is still getting there. So we're going to put some pressure on them, but really a win for this week will get 12 more DeFlock, name the town in Connecticut, up and running, active, recruiting the next town over, because that's how it's going to fall. We don't have counties or anything like that, so it's all each individual municipality has to do it. The upshot is we knock a couple big ones down, others are going to kind of fall into place, because it's very much keeping up the Joneses. I don't know if you guys have ever been to Connecticut, but it's a unique environment. I'm not from here originally. I've gone native though. But
Wow,
that's
transplant. Wow.
I am legit. Yeah. I mean, I've been here 14 years, so people ask me where I went to high school. So I guess I'm like, from here. But it's a unique place. You guys should come. I'll show you around.
Very
We'd
cool.
love to take up that offer.
Yeah, you
How
got
about
it.
you, James? What's a victory look like this week?
Well, honestly, this week it's just seeing how many more faces, how many more conversations I can get on me, on my movement, on my accounts, and really the conversations that can be generated from that. Because talking to new people like this was immensely helpful, because everybody offers a new insight, everybody offers a new experience. So to just get more information, more experiences added to my toolkit to help fight this, that will be highlights of the week. And I guess because the city council meeting where it's all going to come down is in 2 weeks, I guess to see a big turnout, that's a big, longer goal that I have.
Awesome.
Awesome. I love that. Well, my goal for this week is we're gonna just let as many people know as possible. We're going to spread this as far and wide as possible, and I'm glad to hear that this stream has been helpful for someone. Hey, Van made it back.
Okay, sorry.
Oh, good. All good.
Misclicked.
Yeah, I've done that myself, and it's a lot more awkward when you're the host. So don't even worry about it. Last week, my computer restarted like randomly, and then it was like, "Oh, I have to do updates now." I'm like, "Oh my god, are you kidding me?" Like, we're in the middle of a live stream right now. What's going on?
Does it kick everybody else out of the live stream when you do that?
No, it doesn't. Which is like both good and also a little scary because I'm like,
Yeah,
I have
right.
no idea what's going on.
Your
Right?
live stream is going without you. Yeah.
Like, I'm not even in my own live stream, but they're there, so that's weird.
Yeah, it just makes his producer control it. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
All right,
can't hear him. Hold on a second.
Uh-oh. Who
Oh,
said that? We good?
what?
Oh, I thought
You want me to start singing for you a sweet serenade?
Yeah, please. That'd be great.
Let's go down the room here. Let's give everybody a chance to shout out whatever you got going on, whatever you want to
You
send
guys can hear
people.
Chris?
Yeah, I can hear. Oh, wait, I can hear me.
Yeah. I can hear Chris.
I can hear all
can't
you.
hear
I can't hear him. Let me.
Oh, that's
Can somebody
weird.
tell him
Yeah.
to try to
Well, I
quit
am
and come
technical
back in?
difficulties.
Yeah, he says try and quit and come back. That might help.
See you soon, hopefully.
Oh.
Not that he heard me, but yeah, let's just go down the room. Let's give everybody a chance to plug whatever you got going on. Let the people know where to find you. How about you, James? Where can we look for you?
Well, I guess Instagram at NoFlockInTroy. That's the first place to find me and everything I have to say. And I have some local events that I advertise there, but also just some more broad flock information. Like I talked about Axon, I talked about flock safeties, funders, that kind of thing. And one event, the biggest event that we have planned, that if any local person sees this, please show up. The city council meeting on August 31st at 500 West Big Beaver Road. Show up at about 7:15 and we'll get you all run down. If you want to sign, we can get that to you. And we're expecting this to fill up the chambers. We have 50 people who have pledged to show up, 75 seats. So even if we can get just one more of those filled, that would be immensely helpful to our movement.
Awesome. Well, good luck with that. That sounds very cool. How about you, Ren?
Yeah, we're on Instagram at FlockOutElCerrito, and I think, just everyone cross your fingers for us that the cameras come down August 18th, and if they don't, that our city government grows a backbone and just puts bags over them until Flock can get their act together.
All right. Well, we're hoping for you. How
Thanks.
about you, Van?
Just to the 4 people, 2 of them being my mom and dad probably watching. Love you guys. And to the other 2 other people, like if you guys want to get involved or just thank you for watching. I've been pretty inactive recently, but I've been moving into school. I've been doing stuff not in the limelight. Like I mentioned earlier, I got a lucky break and Ben Jordan will be interviewing Sheriff Stacey Gerard. So if anyone finds that interesting, just DM me or my personal or my DeFlock account. And please follow the page and thank you so much for watching.
Awesome. Eric, can you hear me now? Oh, no.
It appears that he cannot hear you.
Uh-oh. Well, can somebody ask Eric to plug himself and what they have going on?
Eric, can you hear me? Now he can't hear anyone, it appears.
We can get a
Oh, no.
translator in here.
Well, you guys, I know you can check it out at Instagram.com/DeFlockCT for DeFlock Connecticut. That's one place I know that you can find him. So definitely make sure you check that out. I'm glad we made it to the end before we had a problem, though. So that is great because this is, in fact, the end of the show. So
Hey, I'm back. Can you hear me?
Hey, yes. Okay, perfect.
Hey,
Hey,
I can hear you.
Chris,
got
I
going
told you I
on?
was going to be technical difficulties the whole way through. I just waited to the end.
forget
At
about
it.
it.
All right,
No
so what's the
worries.
question?
Plug yourself. What do you got going on? Where do people find you?
You can find me at DeFlock Connecticut on Instagram, DeFlock CT, or you can find me personally at Popa Wall Street on Instagram as well. We're developing a website. Actually, there's another DeFlock Connecticut. They hit me up today. They're like, I guess we should probably talk. So they got a website. I got
Nice.
the Instagram. So we're gonna like potluck this kind of thing. I think is the way we're all good. And it was just, I mean, the reality is,
The more the merrier.
Yeah, basically. I mean, this is how we do it.
That's
We all
That's
share.
great.
We all kind of progress together in our network of resistance against
Absolutely.
this network of oppression.
I love that.
Yep.
That's
Agreed.
beautiful. So, I encourage you all. I see you've already been connecting with each other and stuff, but I definitely encourage you to continue that after the stream. And like, the more we're all working together and linked together and sharing information, and like the stronger we all get, and the more successful we're going to be at this thing. So, definitely make those connections. I definitely want to give you all a chance to plug your site. We got that done. Let's see what do we got here. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, all of you, very much. This has actually been like my favorite stream that we've done. This has been amazing. You guys have been an incredible panel, and I'm really, really happy that we got to do this. But also, thank you for everything that you guys are doing for your communities and for all of us. Because, like I said, it's like a good virus. Like, this thing is spreading in a positive way. Like, nobody wants to be the first person to do something, but that's long gone now. And like, people can look and say, hey, they did it and it worked. Like, maybe I can do that too. And like, every one of you, every move that you make, every little tiny victory you have might be the one that encourages somebody in the town over, which, they might be the one that encourages the next town next to them. So, every little minor victory, it's impossible to tell just how much it's doing. But like, if you look at the overall thing, you look at this movement, it's growing at an unbelievable rate. The last couple months has been nuts. Like, it's, the quote normies are talking about it. Like, people know about this now. Like 2 months ago, you talk about flock camera and they're like, you sound like a tinfoil hat guy.
Yeah, we were all paranoid.
Yeah, everybody around's like, yeah, those things are crazy, man. And you're like, whoa, you don't know about this? Well, I'm in the grocery store right now.
It doesn't matter. Young, old, black, white, whoever. It's whatever things that you think about doesn't matter. Nobody wants this crap. So
no, they don't.
Yeah.
Just everything that you guys do, just keep it up.
Yeah, you gotta keep grinding, and like you guys are doing too, is inspiring other people to do it and helping them with the resources to get up and running, and that's really a powerful thing, and that's how this thing keeps growing so quickly. So awesome. And I want to thank everybody that watched this today or watches the replay after. You guys are the reason why we do this. So thank you so much. And a reminder to everybody at home, and this is the super important one. This isn't over. This is just the beginning. Tomorrow is day one of DeFlock's National Week of Action against ALPRs. This is the time. If you wanted to get involved, there's never been a time better than right now to actually do that. A good way to do that, go to DeFlock.org/groups. You can look up and see if there's a local group in your area. If they're not, if you don't find one there, that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. There's still a lot of groups that haven't gotten on the website yet. Like I said, Instagram is a great resource. There's like 1 million DeFlock groups on there. So that's a good place to start. Just search online and Google whatever, look, see if there's one out there, because if there is, like, they're going to have a lot of resources to help you get up and running. And if they don't, that doesn't mean it's over. That just means maybe you're the guy, maybe you're the person that's going to start the group, It's a little harder, but Paul did it in just a few months. He's had amazing success. So, and like I said,
believe in yourself.
Pick out any DeFlock group you want, write to them and say, hey, I just started a group. I don't know what to do. I guarantee they're going to write back to you with all kinds of information, and they're going to help you. And, the next thing you know, 30 people are going to follow your account and be like, where did that just come from? So this is an easy thing to get started in, because everybody wants to help out and wants to help this thing grow. So don't be afraid to be the one to start it, because you'd be surprised the success you can have in a very short time. Nathan, as always, thank you so much for being here. Or not being here.
Yeah. And thank you, Chris, for facilitating this.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I'm happy to do it.
And
it's good to be in the room with a bunch of people of like mind.
Chris does all of the work, so don't think.
Well, while you're here, thank you so much for being here, Eric. I'm going to go down the list. Appreciate you. Van, thank you so much for being here. And good luck with your efforts. I love seeing that young people getting involved in this too, because like, you're the future. We need people that are going to keep carrying this torch, and like, that's where it is. Like, it's people of all ages, and I love that. It's a beautiful thing. Rin, thank you so much for being here. You're amazing.
Yeah, thank you so much.
All right, James, thank you so much for being here.
It's wonderful to be here. It's been a wonderful show.
Awesome. Chris, thank you. Oh, wait, no, that's me. Okay, we're cool. Next week, we have an awesome guest lined up as well, who's supposed to be here a while back. I was sick, though. It was my bad. I had to reschedule it. It's Ted Brown, the Texas Libertarian candidate for Senate. And he's going to be with us at 4 p.m. Eastern on Saturday, 8/22, to discuss surveillance and privacy and digital IDs. And, if you look at his website, like every candidate, they have a whole list of issues. The top issue, the whole category of issues on his website is privacy and surveillance, and it has in there everything, ALPR, facial recognition. I mean, he just goes into broad detail. So unfortunately, I probably won't win because he's against technology. But it'll be very refreshing to speak to a politician who's on our side about this thing, and so that'll be really cool. That is it for today. So thank you all for watching Hide and Speak DeFlock Stars 2, brought to you by vp.net, the only verifiable zero-knowledge VPN. I am Chris Miller. I will see you next week. And remember, trust nothing, verify everything, and always stay encrypted.
The early internet was the wild, wild west. Strange. Free. We explored, we broke things. And yes, we failed. No rules. And that was beautiful. But times have changed. We hesitate. We censor ourselves because we know they're watching. Surveillance kills curiosity, turning the internet from a frontier of hope into a cage of silence. And your VPN? It's based on trust. For let's be real, nobody has ever lied to me, said nobody ever. Yet true privacy is still within reach. vp.net doesn't rely on trust, it runs on real-time proof. Because privacy is about becoming your truest self when no one's watching. So you can be the best you when they are. Otherwise be an NPC, a digital product, and lose. vp.net, don't trust, verify.
Share is only your choice.